Starting in 1890, DePauw University and Wabash College have met on one Saturday of each November. Since 1932, the prize has been the bell. Heroes from yesteryear have laid the foundation for one of college football's most intense rivalries. The Monon Bell is more than just a game. It's a way of life for these two schools. Over the last 27 years, 17 games have been decided by a touchdown or less. Incredibly, after 105 meetings, the DePauw Tigers and Wabash Little Giants are all even, 48 wins apiece, 9 ties. Today, Wabash will try to take away the bell from DePauw, who's won the last 3 meetings. We welcome you to the DePauw University campus in the beautiful city of Greencastle, Indiana, for the battle for the bell. DePauw and Wabash. It doesn't get much more intense than this. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jerry Baker. Welcome to our telecast today. Absolutely perfect weather. Temperature hovering around 70 degrees. No chance of rain. You could not want a better setup than what we have today. Let's show you a graphic situation that regards this game here this afternoon. It gives you an indicator of just how intense this rivalry has been. You see the records 48, 48, and 9. That's amazing. The better record, well, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but the home team is the club that's had the trouble over the years with that record you see on your screen, and the DePauw Tigers have won the last 3 games, and Wabash wants to turn that around today. Working alongside me this afternoon will be Joe Emmick, representing the Wabash viewpoint, and Ryan Burke on the DePauw side of things today. Joe, tell me about the Little Giants.
Jerry, this has been a year for Wabash in which upperclassmen have provided steady veteran leadership, but the underclassmen have garnered the spotlight. As an example, the Little Giants' offensive leader is freshman quarterback Jake Knott. The rookie signal caller hails from Lafayette Jefferson High School, and already after just 9 games, he's 12th on Wabash's all-time career passing list. He's thrown for over 2,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. His favorite target, just a sophomore. Wide receiver Kurt Casper leads the team with 67 receptions, including a school record 17 catches in 1 game. Wabash finds its defensive leadership among a rookie class also. Freshman linebacker Nathan Boulay out of Indianapolis Ben Davis High School leads the team with 88 tackles, 20 more than anyone else on this Little Giant defensive unit. If the bell is to return to Crawfordsville, rookies will make the difference for the Little Giants. Now for a look at the DePauw Tigers, Ryan Burke.
Well, Joe, early in the season, the Tigers were faced with the vaunting task of replacing the all-time leading scorer in the school's history in senior tailback Jonathan Stiegel, who was lost to graduation. Took about 5 games to find the heir apparent, but his name is freshman tailback Scott Thies. Thies' emergence, gaining over 100 yards in each of the last 3 games, has really helped the play of senior quarterback Kurt Hare. Over the past 3-game winning streak for the Tigers, Hare's completed over 61% of his passes. On the defensive side of the ball, the Tigers are anchored by their secondary. A lot of senior leadership there with Joe Rogalski, Patrick Winery, and Josh Johnson. Up front, guys like Brady Tolliver and Frisky Williams are always tough to block and should provide a lot of pressure against the Little Giant freshman quarterback. The Tigers are 4-5, but have won their last 3, and what a better time to peak than the Monon Bell game.
All right, Ryan and Joe, thank you much. My main job today is to keep these guys apart, as clear as I can tell. We'll also have some field reporters to cover the activity down on the sidelines for you today. Lindsey Clutter will be down to talking with some of the celebrities and some of the coaches, along with Davey Neal. In fact, let's go to Lindsey right now.
Thanks, Jerry. Coach Nick, Wabash is led by freshman quarterback Jake Knott. Now, he's had a very good year this year, but since this is his first Monon game, is there anything you're going to try and do to rattle him early or contain him?
Well, you know, he's a competitor, and being a freshman, he's going to feel some extra pressure in there. Anyone that plays their game, whether he's a freshman or first time in the game, and I think on a young guy like that, you try to change coverages up and keep him guessing on the coverage, and some pressure won't hurt him either.
That's right. And also, you've been outscored this year in the first and fourth quarters, and knowing it's very important to have a good start and a solid finish, is there anything you're going to do in this game to change that?
Well, we're going to do like we did the last couple of weeks. We've had a very good start, and we've scored first in the last 2 ball games, and I think we're on a roll right now, and hopefully we'll continue that.
Okay, thank you. And now to you, Davey.
Thanks, Lindsey. I'm here with head coach Greg Carlson. Coach, this year DePauw has established a pretty effective running game. How confident are you with the linebackers and their ability to break the blocks and get to the running back behind the line of scrimmage?
DePauw's running game hurt us last year, and we never really did stop them, and I know that that's the monumental challenge for our defense is to try to slow down or stop their running game today.
Okay, Coach, what are going to be some of your keys today for offensive success in this game?
Well, we just like to hang on to the football, eliminate turnovers, make the plays, critical third down situations, get in the red zone, score touchdowns, not field goals, and basically hang on the football better than we did last year.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck today. Back to you, Jerry.
Davey and Lindsay, thank you very much. Jerry Baker in the booth here at the stadium this afternoon, Blackstock Stadium. Joe Emmick and Ryan Burke alongside the Wabash Little Giants, as you can see, just now arriving on the field. The DePauw Tigers guys came out a couple of minutes ago. They're set up and ready to go. This is almost a case of last place showmanship right here.
Last night at the end of practice, Jerry, Coach Carlson told the team we are going to wait until the very last minute to come out on the field. I think he wanted his kids sheltered from all of the distractions that come with playing this game on the road for the Little Giants.
And Ryan, here at home, this DePauw team has a bit of an advantage, but the advantage dwindles somewhat when you think about the fact that Wabash is only about 30 miles up the road up there.
Definitely close schools, and we talked about a lot last year that this is a kind of an odd circumstance in that the teams aren't in the same conference anymore for the past 2 seasons. Usually we have common opponents. They've played 5 of the same teams. You have a gauge of how they are coming in, and that's just not the case this year. A lot of questions to be answered. A lot of questions were answered last year. A lot of questions will be answered today.
Now you see the meeting of the team's captains at the center of the field. We'll get the coin toss and find out who gets the football first here this afternoon. This Monon Bell game is really one of the great rivalries in all of college football. Coin toss. All right, DePauw wins the toss and reverts relinquishes that decision till the second half. And I say relinquishes because they could opt not to take the football either either side here. But as it stands now, Wabash will receive and defend the goal to our left. Well, the indications are the winds from the southwest at about 7 miles per hour. Guys, you have been around this game in both Crawfordsville and Greencastle. You have seen some horrific weather conditions over the years, but you couldn't draw it up any better than what we've got today.
No, Jerry, the last 2 times this game has been played in Greencastle, the weather has been horrendous. The last time down here, the strangest day I've ever seen in 12 years of covering college football, it looked like this at 10 o'clock in the morning. By kickoff, there was snow falling. We had 3 inches of snow on the ground by halftime. Certainly a great day and the best day we've seen in a long time here in Greencastle.
Sports Information Director Bill Wagner for DePauw was happy to put together the stat today that he believes this game's temperature is 20 degrees higher than the last 2 home games for the Monon Bell at DePauw combined.
I must tell you also, I went over to Wabash, Joe, and you remember the day I was there, and I came in and I thought, as I left the house, I thought, well, I'm going to wear shorts. No, I'll wear long pants. Do I take a sweater? Yeah, I will. When I got there, you remember, it was so cold at Wabash that day, so the weather can change in a hurry here in Indiana, I guess. All right, the Wabash Little Giants will get the football first off. And you see the storyline on this game, who's going to win in the Millennium. The Wabash seniors have never won the Bell. That's a significant factor, I'm sure, as far as the coaches are concerned. And freshmen have dominated the game. And you guys, as you go through the depth charts here, there are a lot of freshmen and underclassmen on both sides of the ball today.
As we discussed in the open, Wabash has had an interesting balance between the veterans and the rookies in that the veterans have been an important key to this team, but it's been much more subtle. It's been quiet leadership. It's been solid veteran leadership, and they've allowed the freshmen such as Jake Knott and Nathan Belay to put up the big numbers. We expect Jake and Nathan to put up big numbers today, but it will have to come behind some of that solid veteran leadership.
Joe and I, in talking about the game over the phone this week, we were talking about some keys to the game, and we can't remember a time when there's been so many freshmen in big play positions on both sides of the football. So kids under a lot of pressure, not used to playing in front of this many fans. We'll see how they react here today.
All right, DePauw will kick off. And a couple of guys deep now for the Wabash club. They are coming off a loss. They lost at Hanover last Saturday, 28-18. And DePauw's won 3 straight over Millsap Center and a winner last Saturday by 33-0 at Rose-Sullivan. The kickoff heading deep. Will bounce and will stay in bounds. It finally does go out of bounds, and let's see what the officials indicate here. It will be Wabash ball just across the 16-yard line, just shy of the 17-yard line.
Tough break for Wabash on the return. Casper wasn't sure whether or not he should let the ball roll out of bounds for a penalty. or fielded, and Little Giants have tough starting field position.
Here's your Wabash offensive lineup. Guys with Jake Knott, the young man who's only a freshman, as Joe referred to him a couple of moments ago. 6'2", 175, a freshman out of Lafayette, Indiana. And maybe he will feel the impact of this game, but a lot of times freshmen are kind of numb to these situations, so this could be an advantage for him today. There's the snap back to Knott. Pass is completed, taken down in there by the number 4 man. And a pickup of a couple of yards on the play. And quickly the Wabash Little Giants getting back to the line of scrimmage. Now they will get back and pick up the offensive set. Here's the defensive alignment for the DePauw defense with that front line of Frisky Williams and Dinwoody and Tolliver and Jack Hett. Good sized group of guys there. Running out of the shotgun again, Jake Knott. Knott looking to the right side. The pass is complete to Ryan Short. He'll be out around the 25-yard line. And pick up of about 6 yards on the play. And it'll be 3rd down and a couple of yards to go.
Ryan Short, one of the freshmen expected to have an impact on today's game. He's from Perry Meridian High School in Indianapolis. A big, strong H-back tight end receiver. And early on, Wabash showing you what its offensive game plan is. Spread the field and then nickel and dime on the flats and the crossing routes underneath the linebacker.
Jake Knott again running out of that shotgun with Brown and Berger, Hunt, Kramer, and Wilhelm on the front line. And the pass is thrown but incomplete. 4th down coming up now for the Wabash Little Giants. Chance to check their special teams now. 4 and out for Wabash.
Jerry, this is a key point in the game right away for the Little Giants. It has not been a good year on special teams. They've allowed 5 blocked punts this year. The coaches feel that their special teams problems have cost them 2 games. You see Knott under pressure, throwing off the back foot. And when Knott has difficulty completing passes, typically it's because of poor mechanics. And there you see he failed to get a good base with his feet. He threw off balance and it was incomplete.
Number 7, Joe Rakowski, shaking up on the play. Good to see he's up on his feet. We talked about the senior leadership in the secondary for the Tiger defense. He's a big part of that, leading the Tiger in tackles this season.
DePauw had a player down briefly. He is now coming off the field. Apparently under his own power, in pretty good shape. And back punting deep for Wabash. Wilhelm will get it away. I'll make it, Wilhelm. Taken by DePauw at short of midfield and down across the 45 to about the 43-yard line. And the DePauw offensive alignment will get to work now.
32, DJ Bruner, the freshman on the return there. A guy with a lot of game-breaking speed for the Tigers.
32-yard punt. 15-yard return for DePauw, so they'll get their first offensive look this afternoon in Wabash territory. Quarterback is number 6. His name is Kurt Hare. He is a senior, 6', 200-pounder out of Tipton, Indiana. A lot of Indiana kids on both these squads. Slot left. Hare with the pitch back deep. There's the reverse handoff, but the ball is Joe Shane. Shane's got running room around the right side. 45, 30, 35, down to about the 20-yard line and inside the 20-yard line. A 23-yard pickup for Joe Shane, the wide receiver on the reverse. Little hoop-de-doo early on in this game, guys.
The Tigers start off with some trickery there as freshman tailback Scott Thies here takes the handoff. Then you see Shane coming around the end on the reverse and had all kinds of daylight running room, a big 23-yard pickup.
And that caught the Little Giants defense off guard clearly. The coaches prepared all week for a bread and butter, toss sweep, trap play, up the middle kind of game from the Wabash running attack. That had to be a surprise to everybody on the Wabash sideline.
Number 41, Nathan Boulay, is the guy that made the saving tackle, or it might have been a touchdown for DePauw. 1st and 10, just outside the 20-yard line. Quick pitch out to the near side. Joe Shane again. Shane cuts back inside, picks it down inside the 10-yard line, and that may be another first down for the DePauw Tigers. 11 yards on the pickup. It will be a first down. It's DePauw offensive unit. As you see on your screen, Kurt Hare is the quarterback. He is a senior. You see Scott Thies also. That he's a freshman. That gives you some indication just how deep both these ball clubs are. Tohill is a senior. Shane is a junior.
The key for DePauw in that last play was the blocking of tight end Tyler Kelly. The Wabash coaches all week said that Tyler Kelly was the one player on this DePauw offense they feared most because he is a big, strong tight end. He's the best blocker on the team, and he can easily lock up smaller linebackers and defensive backs.
And not a good sign for the Tigers right here as Tyler Kelly was shaken up on that last play. He was helped off the field, and we'll see what if he comes back in on one of these next series.
Also a change for DePauw. Ryan McGuffey has come out from the wide receiver spot, and Mike Dekoff, the sophomore out of Bloomington, is in that lineup now. They're throwing in that direction. The pass is completed to Joe Shane. Shane gets it down inside the 10-yard line, about 4 yards on the play. 2nd down and 6 for the DePauw Tigers. And guys, if I recall correctly, last year on Wabash's home field, this is pretty much similar to what happened. DePauw got out early, led 35-0 at halftime, and dominated the football game.
Tigers really took the wind out of the Little Giants' sails last year with a 97-yard drive to get their first score.
Here's that defensive unit now for the Wabash Little Giants. And they've got their hands full right now. They're backed up with the nose of the ball just outside the 5-yard line. Here with a couple of guys in the backfield, puts one man in motion. Now pitches back deep, around the left side, inside the 5, down to around the 2 or 3-yard line. Climbing off the deck, number 22, Scott Thies, the freshman from Elmwood Park, Illinois.
We talked in the pregame about it. It took the Tigers about 5 games to find the heir apparent for John Stiegel. And Scott Thies here, as you can see on this run to the left side, has really filled the role in a big way. A much different back than Stiegel. He hits the holes hard. He runs very hard. A lot of power, not as much speed probably as Stiegel, but he gets the job done. The stats are there.
A couple of more changes now for DePauw. They put Ryan McGuffey back on the field at the wide receiver spot. They'll bring Tyler Kelly, number 85, into that lineup playing tight. And Dan Ryan has also moved out on the field right now, split wide to the right side. They're throwing in that direction, and the pass is complete. Touchdown DePauw. So the first time DePauw touches the football, they take it just shy of 50 yards into the end zone. And a 6-0 DePauw lead right now. And that's the gentleman we just talked about a couple of moments ago who came in the game. And he gets the touchdown, number 88, Dan Ryan. That's his 2nd touchdown reception this year. Here's the point after now for DePauw. It is up, and it is good. And the Tigers have a 7-0 lead early on.
Jerry, we talked about in the pregame as we see the touchdown here again. Freshman playing a big role in this game right here. 6'4", 200-pound Dan Ryan, who was an MVP at Cincinnati Moeller High School last year, makes a good grab on the in route and has enough power to get into the end zone, as big as a tight end, really.
Well, he did look like the Dan Ryan Expressway right there, did he not? We had just commented they had put him in there. They had taken Joe Sheen out of the lineup at wide receiver. It looks to me like both these coaches may be going to go to the bench and use a lot of depth here this afternoon. So now Wabash has got to recoup itself in a hurry because they, I'm sure, have some memories of last year's game when it was 35-0 at halftime. They cannot let that happen this year, Joe.
Jerry, those of us in Crawfordsville this week felt that the one thing that would turn the game in DePauw's favor would be special teams problems for the Little Giants. It has not been a good year for the Wabash kicking game. Wilhelm booted a beautiful punt, but the cover guys missed a couple of tackles, gave DePauw great field position, and right now this game is 7-0 based on field position.
Exactly right. The drive, some 5 plays, covering about 43 yards, and it took them less than 3 minutes to get the job done, 2:27. And the touchdown reception by Dan Ryan, as I mentioned, his 2nd of the season. So now DePauw will kick off again, as they did to begin this Monon Bell game this afternoon. And Wabash will set their receivers deep on about the 10-yard line. They're looking right into the sun, and that has presented a problem for Wabash this afternoon. Brent Graber will bring it back, stumbles just across the 20, just shy of the 24-yard line. Let's swing down to the field now and pick up a comment from Lindsay Clutter. Lindsay?
Thank you, Jerry. I'm standing here with Mac Quarlton, who is DePauw's Director of Alumni Relations. Mac, tell us about the Monon Bell telecast network for alumni this year.
Thanks, Lindsay. First of all, I want to say hi to all the DePauw alums across the country. We do have 42 sites where we're having parties with our friends from Wabash, all the way from Seattle, Washington, down to Naples, Florida, from Boston to San Diego. So we're having a great time here in Greencastle. We wish the day well for all of our friends on the telecast sites.
Okay, thank you. Now back to you, Jerry.
19 yards on the return that time. Wabash puts it on the ground, brings it down across the 25 to the 27-yard line. They got about 3 yards on the play that time. 2nd down and 7. I would think now, Joe and Ryan, imperative that Wabash, even if they don't score, at least they move the football a little bit now and not allow DePauw to settle in and do what they want to do here this afternoon.
Well, they have their workhorse running back in the game right now who just carried on that play, Drew Waters. He leads the team with 450 yards on the season, but certainly the running attack needs to be there for the Little Giants today.
They set the slot to the left and to the right this time. 4 wideouts, nobody in the backfield. Here's the quick pitch out to Ryan Short. Short gets around the corner, makes the turn. That is, J.D. Flynn. Flynn is down the far sideline. Flynn all the way down to the 10, cuts back inside, could go all the way, and does go all the way. What a terrific effort from J.D. Flynn, 73 yards. That'll turn it around in a hurry, Joe.
J.D. Flynn, a senior from Crawfordsville High School. He's drawn double coverage all year. That's opened up Kurt Casper. DePauw loses him on the flanker screen, and he goes the distance. And here you look at it, just a quick flare in the flat. Looks like a play Purdue might run with Drew Brees. He outruns the defender, turns on the afterburners, and goes all the way for the touchdown. For J.D. Flynn, that's his 8th touchdown on the season. For Jake Knott, his 19th. He's now 3rd all-time in season touchdowns on the Wabash passing list.
And a good cutback right here. He had a defender that had a hold of his shirt early on. Here's the point after. It is up, and it is good by Matthew. Check it by number 9 for Wabash, Todd Bauer. And Bauer makes it a 7-7 football game. Here's another look at that play. You'll note that Bobby Davis right about here has a hold of the shirt, and that's all he gets. And from there on out, it is just full steam ahead for J.D. Flynn.
2 good stock blocks from the wide receivers out front, and then Flynn takes a great angle to the sideline and turns on the afterburners. You see a convoy starting to catch up with him. The Little Giant offense has not had a lot of quick strike, long yardage plays this season. They get one today, and when you trail 7-0 as quickly as Wabash did in this game, that's exactly the kind of play you need to fire up the team and get back in the ball game. And now they've done something this year they couldn't do last year. They recovered from falling behind early. And here you see the cutback. Ryan Short getting in the way with a little block. And Flynn, the senior, crosses the goal line for perhaps one of the biggest moments in his Wabash career.
J.D. Flynn's numbers, as you look back on the season, guys, his longest touchdown reception was a 35-yarder against Manchester and 34 against Wilmington. He doubled that one right there. 2 plays, 76 yards, took him a minute. All of a sudden, the tie ball game at 7, and Wabash will kick it off. It is taken at the 10-yard line, across the 15, the 20, across the 25, 30, 35, 40, 45-yard line, and DePauw will bring it out. And again, good field position for the DePauw Tigers as they will set up just shy of the midfield stripe, a 35-yard punt or kickoff return, and they will mark it down officially on about the 43-yard line.
Now we get to see how DePauw will react to a situation they weren't faced with in last year's Monon Bell game. DePauw scored on their first 5 possessions, allowed a defensive touchdown in the 3rd quarter, but that was all that the Tigers heard from the Little Giants. They must respond here now.
Joe Shane was the gentleman who brought the ball back for the DePauw Tigers. They will set it up now with a single setback. Trips to the left side, single wide out to the right side of the top of your screen. Here's a good look right smack into the face of the DePauw quarterback, Kurt Hare. Hare dropping back to throw, got a receiver, and it's tipped away. Actually not really close to the intended receiver. Let's take a look at one more time at this touchdown and take a look at the blocking here, Joe.
Again, it's the quick shot out into the flat. The wide receivers out in front of Flynn do a great job and leave it up to Flynn to outrun the much slower defensive lineman, and that play worked perfectly. Another reason the Little Giant coaches decided to nickel and dime DePauw. You can move it down in short first, but you might break a long one, and they did there.
Kurt Hare's first miss on the passing attempt. He was 3 for 3 on that drive for 17 yards. Shane a couple of receptions for 15 and has rushed for 23. So a couple of touches now for Wabash, and now the second touch of the afternoon for the DePauw Tigers. Deep snap and knocked away, and we're going to get a flag, a late flag coming in from the secondary. Obviously pass interference. We'll wait for the official call. That's what it is, the defensive pass interference on the Wabash Little Giants. Number 8 on your screen. Matt Clark, out of Indianapolis, Ben Davis.
pass intended for number 2, Mike Deekoff. Ran about 7 yards down the field and stopped, and the Wabash defender came over his back.
Matt Clark, probably the most aggressive defensive back the Little Giants have, and I don't think there's much question that that was pass interference on that play. Matt trying to make a big play and make a defensive statement here on this possession.
They will set up again with wide receivers. Ryan McGuffey split way out to the top of your screen. Again, a look at Kurt Hare. Over the shoulder of Ryan Freeman, the defensive linebacker for the Wabash Little Giants. 7-7 football game. First quarter, 9:40 to play. Hare back to throw. This time he's got a receiver right at the 30-yard line. The pass complete to Ryan McGuffey. Out of Portage, Indiana, a 5'8", 175-pound junior. 19 yards on the pickup, first down, DePauw.
McGuffey, the speed threat for the Tigers, as we're going to see here on the replay, runs a very crisp route, turns around, the ball is there on a great throw by Kurt Hare for a 19-yard gain. And as I said, McGuffey, the deep threat, complements the other Tiger receivers very well.
So the DePauw Tigers on the march again. They got good field position on their first punt reception and the second one on the return to the kickoff after Wabash had tied the game at 7, and they marched it down to the 31-yard line. Kurt Hare's season's numbers in front of you. Here's the quick slant in, intercepted, nearly intercepted, I should say. They had the ball in the hands of Ryan McGuffey. He couldn't bring it down. Nathan Boulay and Trevin Upkes were in that area. And it'll be second down and 10.
There we see McGuffey and Hare talking about the play that just occurred, and I think McGuffey was a little shocked because he turned around and the ball was right on him. And tip ball, always one of the most dangerous plays for an offense, almost picked off by the Little Giant defenders.
Here's a good look at the offensive line coming up for DePauw with SQ, Paul, Jamie Hart, Szymanowski, Josh Bias. Deep give. And a couple of 3 yards up the middle this time for Scott Thies, number 22, out of Elmwood Park, Illinois. I'll give him 3. He's a freshman at 5'11", 180.
And freshman linebacker Nathan Boulay stepped in to make the tackle, his third tackle of the day, his 91st of the season. And you see they try to run away from him, and Nathan steps right into the hole and makes the tackle. He is a guy that the coaches feel could well be the best linebacker this school has ever had. He has had as good a freshman year as anybody can remember from a Wabash defensive player.
No surprise, Joe, he made that tackle. He led the team in tackles. As you pointed out, 91 total. He had 88 coming into the game this afternoon. 31% success on third downs for DePauw this year, and that'll go up a little bit as they get the pass completion down just outside the 10-yard line. And they get the first down to pick up at 17.
Well, we get our answer on the health of Tyler Kelly with a great grab right there as he went high in the air. Kelly back into the game, known for his blocking, but a great catch, had a big catch in a Monon Bell game 2 years ago.
Ryan, in talking with the football staff this week, they really, I think, thought it would be what we saw last year. A lot of traps, a lot of tosses, some sweeps. Is this a more diverse DePauw offense than you've seen in the last couple of weeks?
Definitely, as we see Kelly there with a big catch over the middle. I think the emergence of the freshmen in the offense really goes to that point right there, Joe. They're using a lot of different guys in a lot of different formations and just a lot of diversity in the Tiger offense.
Deekoff in the lineup now at the wide receiving spot. The ball is handed off deep in the backfield and up to about the line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard or 2 on the play.
And again, it was Nathan Boulay making a terrific play. DePauw ran a little draw play. It did not fool Nathan at all. He held his ground, stuck with his assignment, and stepped in and made a very good tackle on the draw play. And again, that's what he brings to this team. Even as a freshman, he almost never misses a read and almost never deviates from his assignment.
Again, Kurt Hare will send the wideouts in both directions. To the bottom of your screen, to the left of the screen, Ryan McGuffey, the junior wide receiver out of Portage, Indiana. Deep snap, good protection this time. Slant in is caught and then dropped by Joe Shane.
Incomplete pass there by Shane. It looked like the same route that Dan Ryan scored upon on the first Tiger drive. You see him coming across back from the right side and just can't hold on to the football. Good coverage by the Little Giant defender.
Tell you what, Ryan, the DePauw offensive line is doing a terrific job. Wabash stunting and running twists on their front four, and DePauw's not missed a beat.
DePauw had only 820 yards on the ground all season. That figures out to be about, 90 yards a game, but that's not going to get it done.
Really, and it's a tale of two teams, though, Jerry. They were trying to find the replacement for Jonathan Stiegel and finally did in the last 5 games. Most of those yards coming there.
Here's the quick slant to the left side. Pass incomplete. Going again to Joe Shane. Shane's dropped the last couple of passes. I got to believe the sun's a problem out here right now. Ryan, they're looking right into the eyes. I noticed the Wabash receivers on the kickoffs and the punt returns were shading their eyes. They're having trouble seeing the football right now.
Definitely. Just as we had a little trouble squinting into the cameras down on our sideline, I think the players are having the same trouble.
So we're going to talk about a field goal situation now for DePauw. Matthew Griggs from the field goal is 2 for 8 this year. He's hit from 38 and 32. This is a 27-yarder. It is on the way. It has the length. It is right down the middle. That's the 3rd field goal this season for Matthew Griggs. 38, 32, and now a 27-yarder. And DePauw goes back in front by a 10-7 score in the first quarter. 7-11. Here's this replay on this field goal attempt again.
Very important kick here for Matthew Griggs. He's been battling some injuries. He's had a kind of an up-and-down season, and it's important to instill his confidence, I think, to get this first kick to go through the upright.
In fact, he did not play last week, if I recall.
Correct.
So DePauw goes on the board, gets a 10-play, 46-yard drive, a little less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 50 seconds on that drive for the DePauw Tigers. Let's head down to Davey Neal on the sidelines here this afternoon. Davey?
Thanks, Jerry. I'm here with John Demos, class of '83 from Wabash, representative from the National Association of Wabash Men. John, this is your 20th consecutive Bell game. How have you seen the face of this game change at all in the past 20 years?
Well, Davey, in all respects, not very much. It's been a very intense, competitive battle. Alumni come back. Many friends of mine from both Wabash and DePauw collect here every year to get a chance and visit and have a good time together. And by the way, I'm Jim. My brother John was 2 years behind me.
My apologies. Back to you, Jerry.
All right, thank you very much. Kurt Casper, Brent Graber will stand deep now for Wabash. Here's the kickoff heading deep. And it'll be taken by Graber at about the 4-yard line. Brent across the 15. Out to the 17 or 18-yard line. A good open field tackle that time by Joe Rogowski. A 14-yard return for the Wabash Little Giants. And they will go to the offensive side of the football again here this afternoon.
Rogo, one of those senior defensive backs in the secondary, a great open field tackle there on special teams. See, he beats his blocker and just able to snare the shoelaces of the return man for the Little Giants.
Again, kind of lonely in that backfield for Jake Knott. He sets up all by himself with wideouts on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Quick slant pass over the middle, taken. It is caught. It is complete to the 30, 35, 40, 45 midfield. He has one guy to beat, and there is the guy that got him right there. A terrific defensive play by DePauw's number 3, Patrick Winnery. He was just about the last hope, and again, that little slant pattern seems to get him in the secondary and opens things up for the runners.
And it's a great formation for a freshman quarterback because when you spread the offense that much, you can very quickly identify any blitz that's coming, make the right reads, and Jake has done a great job today. Another long gain on a short pass from the Little Giants, and a great move here by the freshman Ryan Short to deke the DB and get out into the open. And again, we mentioned the impact freshmen would have on this game. Nathan Boulay has done it for the defense. Ryan Short and Jake not getting it done here. And we should mention Jake has also had good protection from his offensive line. This Wabash offensive line looking to set a record. The record for fewest sacks in a season allowed by the Little Giants is 8. Coming into this game today, they have allowed just 5.
Joe, Short checks in at 6'5", 210. That's a load. Oh, my.
And he's only a freshman, so he's only had 1 year in the college weight program. He is going to be bigger and stronger as time goes on, and the coaches are really excited about having him involved in this offense. And he has not been a primary target.
No, he is not. In fact, I'm just checking that they've only thrown to him 8 times all year. And no more than twice in one game. There he is, Ryan Short. In fact, he had, against Ohio Northern in the season opener, 2 catches for 43 yards. Everything else has been in single figures. 7 against Washington, 6 Mount St. Joseph, 6, 4, and 6 in the last 3 games. That's a 54-yarder right there. He's got the whole season in one little play right there.
And we talked about Short being checking in at 6'5", 210, being a load, and Patrick Winnery played the excuse me, paid the price right there, Jerry.
He did.
For making a great defensive play, but he's being helped off the field by some DePauw trainers at this point.
You could see from our angle that Winery was really the last hope for DePauw. He had the angle on him. The question was, A, could he catch him, and B, when he did catch him, could he bring him down? The answer was yes and yes, and now, as you suggest, he's paying the price for it right now, Patrick Winery. He's a young man, a 5'10", 170-pound senior out of Naples, Florida. Starting cornerback. He's had a really good year for the DePauw Tigers. They're just now getting to the sideline. And you get a feeling we have not seen the last of Mr. Winery this afternoon. Mark Wilhelm is listed as his backup in that position. And he is indeed out there. So Wabash will have it 1st and 10 on the DePauw 28-yard line. Left side, Drew Waters. Not a whole lot of running room. Couple of yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down, and see where they mark it. We're around 8 yards to go for the first down. 6:17 to go here in this first quarter. 10-7 DePauw. Here's that handoff to Waters out of Nashville, Indiana.
Little Giants have had trouble running the ball this year, but Drew Waters is doing just enough right now to keep the DePauw defensive line honest.
And again, not all by himself in the backfield. Wide receivers in every direction. Here's the rush by Knott. I'm not sure if it was designed that way or not, but he finally realized that was his only hope because the receivers were really well covered that time. A 1-yard gainer that time for the Wabash quarterback.
Jerry, to give you an idea of the impact Jake Knott has had on this team, we'll see him run the ball here rather than pass, but he is already moving up the career passing charts. He's 4 for 5 today for 136 yards. That gives him 2,309 yards for his career. He's already 11th on the all-time list after one season.
That's amazing. Wabash 0 for 1 on 3rd down conversions today. On the season, they hit 60 of 159. It's about 38%. The whistle will stop the play. Marker down, apparently a procedure call against Wabash. And if so, that'll cost him 5 and make it 3rd and 11. That's what it is, and that's what it's going to be.
Jerry, we should also point out that the Wabash player Jake just passed to go into 10th place is his own father, Dave Knott, Wabash class of 1969. So in one season, or really less than a full season, Jake has thrown for more yards than his dad did in 3 years.
That makes for some interesting dinner conversation, right?
Get this, his sister went to DePauw. How do you like that one?
Oh, that really makes for interesting conversation there. Again, it is Jake Knott running this ball club. He has had Brian Steed relieve him only a couple of times all seasons. Knott's been very, very durable. Drops back, gets good protection. Now the protection breaks down. He will fire the ball upfield, kind of threw it up for grabs, and actually a pretty good defensive play that time by J.D. Flynn to knock the ball away. And it'll be a 4th down, and we'll check the punting game again now for the Wabash Little Giants.
If there has been one weakness in Jake Knott's ability to throw the ball, it has been his ability to throw on the run. Just a freshman, these kinds of broken plays are still difficult for him. He's improved since the beginning of the season, but if there is one weak spot in his game, it is throwing on the run.
Jake Knott was an All-State and Indiana All-Star player. And they're going to go for the field goal. And this will be a long one for Wabash. Nathan Free, he has hit from 46 this year. This is a 47-yarder. Not much wind at all. Free's got the kick way short. It'll come down into the end zone. Touchback. So Free had no chance that time. The wind, what there is of it, and we pointed out earlier, not much out there. Would have been in his face, but that didn't have a chance at all. So Free will miss the field goal attempt. And DePauw will get the ball again in pretty good field position.
And there's going to be a change for Wabash defensively. We've had a report from the sideline that Chet Casper has sustained a neck injury. He took a knee to the helmet, and he will not return this afternoon.
That is not good news for the Wabash defense.
And Wabash will replace him with Curtis Ross, a 5'10", 180-pound junior out of Anderson Highland High School.
Interesting, because I was told, well, now they do have Ross listed on the other side behind Clark, but they'll swing him over and put him on the other side now, the cornerback slot. Here's the handoff on the right side. Out to around the 40-yard line.
You see the misdirected carry there by the fullback, Ryan Tohill. Interesting little story about his gloves. You see the glaring red, Little Giant red gloves. Those are Talawanda High School hand-me-downs, as we see here the carry from Tohill. 97 graduate Tim Cooper, who was a Tiger linebacker. Austin Johnson, who was an end, graduated in 98. Jonathan Stiegel last year went to Talawanda as well, a 99 graduate and a running back for the Tigers, and now Tohill, the last one.
Here they are right there.
To complete the quadruple, I guess.
You see the season's numbers for Ryan Tohill, young man out of Oxford, Ohio, a 5'7", 205-pound senior. The cut back, gets almost to the 45-yard line. We pointed out that DePauw's running game was not particularly effective this year, but as Ryan pointed out, that happened early on. As the season progressed, they got better, and you still have to run the ball. Even if you can't run the ball, you still got to do it once in a while.
Definitely. The Tigers thought that they had the heir apparent to Jonathan Stiegel and Ryan Law. He dislocated his knee in one of the first practices of the season, so they were searching those first 5 games until finally Thies emerged, and he's done a great job.
We have moved inside the 4-minute mark of the first quarter. 3:50 to go. It's a 10-7 football game with DePauw on top of Wabash. This Monon Bell game, 48-9 is the overall record. Here's the long pass, and out of the reach of the intended receiver that time. And we got a flag down on the field. They were trying to throw to Joe Shane.
They decided to pick on Curtis Ross, the backup cornerback who's on for the injured Chet Casper, and while they did not complete the pass, they will pick up the first down on a pass interference penalty.
The officials are now talking about the 45-yard line.
A couple of other changes for Wabash, or one change on their defensive front. Sophomore Ryan Gibson started today at defensive tackle. He's replacing senior Jeff Rice, who is out for the year with a torn ACL. Gibson has been lifted from the game, and in his place he is one of the young men who has made a difference this year from that freshman class, Matt Mercer, a 6-foot, 245-pounder out of Carmel. And here is a look at the pass interference play.
We see Hare going back to pass. Shane extending for it.
Well, guys, I didn't
see much contact.
I didn't see anything at all.
I didn't see it on the live play.
No,
Replay,
in fact, I thought maybe I had missed. Maybe they had it somewhere else because I didn't see anything on the deep play that time. But it doesn't matter what we see, guys.
That's right. We're up here. Right?
It'll be first down and 10 to DePauw. The ball just shy of the 40-yard line. That's outside the 40-yard line. Ryan Tohill stays in as the fullback. Starts in motion. And the give over the right side. And running room again for number 22, Scott Thies, that youngster out of Elmwood Park, Illinois, picks up 8 on that play and moves the ball down inside the 35-yard line. They'll spot it down somewhere around the 33, and DePauw's ground game right now is very effective.
Look at the great hole created by the Tiger offensive line. Thies, a guy who was slowed in the early going by a concussion in one of the first games of the season, and that really kind of hindered his progression, but boy, what a last 4 or 5 games he's played for the Tigers.
He is averaging 4 yards per carry this afternoon. 4 carries, 16 yards. Here's the fake pitch, the give inside to Ryan Tohill again. Tohill down inside the 30, and that'll be another DePauw first down. That's the 4 yards on the pickup that time. And first and 10 with 2:55 to go now in this first quarter and a 10-7 football game with DePauw on top.
Another large hole there for Tohill to go through, and the Tiger offensive line has really dominated the line of scrimmage on this drive so far.
They go 270, 260, 235, 259, and 255 across the front line weight-wise for the DePauw Tigers. Here's the pitch back and a cut to the right side by Thies. Thies gets himself another 4 or 5 yards, moves the ball inside the 25-yard line. And it'll be second down. 5 yards on the pickup, second down and 5. There's the youngster, Scott Thies. You see his numbers on the season.
The Wabash defensive staff concerned about the play of their defensive ends coming into the game after throwing the ball all over the field on their first 2 possessions. DePauw in this drive has been attacking those ends and doing so successfully.
This time, Hare keeps a couple of guys in the backfield for protection. They get decent protection. The pass is complete to the near side to Joe Shane, and Shane will move it down to the 13-yard line. So about the time the Wabash defense begins to focus on the runs up the middle or over the guards, they take the ball to the air and get the pass completion, got the first down. 10 yards on the pickup. And down to the 14-yard line now for DePauw. This DePauw team last year was 7-3 overall. 5-1 in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, their first year there, second place in the conference. Only 4 offensive starters returning, 7 on the defensive side of the ball, so Nick's had to do some heavy-duty work there.
Scott Thies shaken up on that play is out for the Tigers.
They line up strong right, put a man in motion. Ryan Tohill, give the ball deep now to A.J. Smart. Move it down inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. A.J. Smart, a youngster out of Greenwood, Indiana. Again, only a freshman at 5'7", 180. 8 yards on the pickup for A.J. Smart this afternoon. And again, DePauw banging on the door.
We see another large hole for Smart to get through. Great blocking by that offensive line. Can't say enough, including the likes of Tyler Kelly at the tight end slot. A big game.
Matchup that most concerned the Wabash coaches came to light right there. Tyler Kelly just blew up defensive end Eric Magnuson on that play and led the way. Wabash has to have strong play from its defensive ends to stop this running attack.
Scott Thies back in at running back now, replacing A.J. Smart on this offensive keep. They swing it left side. That is Thies with the football. Thies might have got a couple of yards. And another marker down on the play. The officials huddling together for the call. And it would appear to be a holding call. We'll wait for the official signal from the field. And they'll bring the other official into it.
Good defensive play from middle linebacker Trevin Upke. He's a 6'2", 225-pound junior. Had 68 tackles on the season coming in. And, Jerry, you mentioned there are a lot of Indiana kids on this team. He's one who's not. He hails from Warren. Upke has been one of the quiet upper-class leaders on this ball club. He's second on the team in tackles, and you'll see the play here. He does a nice job coming in from behind to bring down the ball carrier. As I mentioned, second on the team, 20 behind his freshman counterpart, Nathan Boulay. But nonetheless, Upke's has been a terrific leader at middle linebacker for this defense.
Really a good job by the entire Little Giant defense there of stringing out Thies on the carry to the left side.
Actually, an illegal blocking call instead of a holding call we had anticipated. And that moves the ball back all the way out to the 22-yard line. The referee explaining the call to quarterback Kurt Hare, number 6. We've got it set up now. It'll be second down and about 16 to go for the first down. Josh Bias with the ball at center now for DePauw. The snap back to Hare, fakes the quick pass, comes out to the near side. Pass complete to Thies. Thies has some running room and is knocked out of bounds inside the 15-yard line, somewhere around the 13.
Great deception play there by the Tigers as looked like the same play that Dan Ryan scored upon earlier on in the quarter. A fake over there to Ryan to the right side, and then we see Hare turn around, come back the other way to Thies, and he had some daylight.
So Thies gets about half of those back. And it'll be third down and 8 yards to go now as they send wide receivers to the right side. Ryan McGuffey will go way out to the right side of your screen. A slot man in there, and Joe Shane. DePauw 2 out of 2 on third down conversions this afternoon. Pass over the middle is knocked away. For a moment, I thought he'd intercepted it, but not the case. A good defensive play by John Haug.
Haug is 6'2", 176-pound senior, one of the seniors on this team who has never tasted victory in the Monon Bell game. Coaches have not been overly pleased with his play the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've urged him to be more aggressive, felt he had been playing softly, and here today he comes up with a big play, almost intercepts the pass in the end zone.
And a field goal attempt again by the DePauw Special Units. Matthew Griggs from 30 yards out has the distance and has the accuracy. So a couple of field goals for DePauw will make it a 13-7 football game. And Wabash, I guess, Joe, could come away feeling with a little bit of a moral victory there.
They certainly can. In fact, on the last 2 possessions they can, because DePauw had them on the ropes. Wabash holds DePauw to a couple of field goals. Again, though, starting field position has been a big factor for DePauw. Wabash has not made them go the length of the field to get their points. Ryan, another factor right now could be time of possession. The Wabash defense spent a lot of time on the field, and it's odd to say in the Monon Bell game in mid-November, this really is one of the warmest days on which Wabash has played all season long.
Definitely, I think stamina comes into a factor, and we saw that really in last year's game. The Tigers started off with a 97-yard sustained drive that ate up almost half of the first quarter, and I really don't think the Wabash defense ever came back after that drive.
We also talked about special teams making a difference. Wabash with poor tackling on 2 returns to give DePauw good starting field position. Wabash missed a field goal. DePauw, surprisingly, I think everybody here has kicked 2 already today. Special teams playing a big factor also.
9 plays covering 57 yards. Time of possession, 4 minutes, 28 seconds. 13-7 now. DePauw with the lead. The kickoff heading deep. Matthew Griggs boots it deep. It's taken back inside the 5-yard line. Returned by Casper out across the 20 to the 25, and that's where he'll be down with the clock showing on the 21-yard return. 16 seconds to play in this first quarter. And a 13-7 lead for the DePauw Tigers over the Wabash Little Giants.
Still waiting for an update on injured Tiger defensive back Patrick Winnery here as we see the return.
Good gang tackling from the DePauw special teams unit, but Wabash still with good starting field position at the 25-yard line.
Jake Knott at quarterback for the Little Giants. There's the give deep to Drew Waters. Waters skirts the left side, gets a little running room out across 30 and knocked out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. 7 yards on the pickup, 2nd down and 3 now for Wabash. Had a couple of explosive plays in this game, one of which went for that lengthy touchdown that put them on the board for the first time this afternoon. And that is the end of the first quarter. Well, while we've got a moment, let's take a closer look at these 2 outstanding universities, Wabash College and DePauw University.
Quality and character. We have young men of character, and I think that's very important. We have young men that are students first, athletes second, and they keep that in a proper perspective when they give you.
The broadcast of the Monon Bell Classic is underwritten with support from the following. Mikhail Cook and Welch, whose 5 DePauw graduates and 5 Wabash graduates are proud to present this telecast of the Monon Bell Classic. Mikhail Cook and Welch, committed to providing innovative legal services since 1933. Service-oriented, results-driven, Mikhail Cook and Welch. Brewer Furniture, located in Ladoga, Waynetown, and Avon, and the Brewer family salute the players of the Monon Bell. Brewer Furniture features Serta, Lazy Boy, Hooker, and Keller products and is committed to offering fine home furnishings and reliable service in a home-like setting. Family-owned and operated since 1978.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
Lindsay
I know
Clutter.
Lindsay? Oh, good, Lindsay. Yeah, I know him very well.
Oh, good.
We were at Lily's together for a while.
That's right. That's
And then
right.
I left, and then he stayed on forever. And
13-7 after the end of the first quarter. DePauw, let's swing down to the field now to Lindsay Clutter.
Thank you, Jerry. Right now I'm standing with John Jewett, who played football for the Tigers in the 1940s and is also a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame and a board of directors. Mr. Jewett, you played football for the Tigers in the 40s, and we understand you haven't missed many games since. How many years have you been coming to the Monon Bell games, and can you pick out a favorite?
oh boy, I came to my first one, I'm told, when I was 4 years old. I missed 3 during the war. I'm now 77, so I take that 4 and 3. That's 7. I must have seen 70.
And what do these games mean to you?
Well, they're just marvelous. They're the greatest intercollegiate activity I know of in athletics. It's just been a wonderful series forever, and it is again today. Look at this weather. It's marvelous. 2 years ago when we were down here in Greencastle, we had snow, if you remember, terrible snow. Here we've got a great day, good crowd. It's just a neat day.
Yes, and it's fantastic to have you here. Thank you very much. Back to you, Jerry.
Well, I've known John for a long, long time. You saw Jake Knott running around trying to protect himself and get away from the rush of the defense of DePauw. He throws the ball, and it's an incomplete pass, and the clock stops with 14:03 to go now in this first half of play.
Just seconds into the second quarter, Jerry. You know, we talked, Joe, about all the freshmen on both sides of the football. Knott's had some pretty good numbers, a big gain by Short, Dan Ryan with a touchdown. Most of these freshmen seem to have answered the bell.
The first Wabash punt was good for 32 yards. They put the ball in the air again, and it is taken down deep. And running it out to about the 35, 36, 37-yard line, Ryan McGuffey for DePauw.
And you saw yet another one of the outstanding rookies on this Wabash team make a difference on that play. Number 22, Lonnie Heck. He is a reserve defensive back, but maybe the best player on this special teams. He comes out like he's been shot out of a cannon. He doesn't make the tackle, but he influences the flow of the play into Nathan Boulay, who makes a solid tackle. We've been talking about Nathan Boulay all day. I think you can see for yourselves how good this kid is.
41 yards on the punt, 9 on the return. A look over the shoulder of Kurt Hare, the quarterback now for the DePauw Tigers. They lead it 13-7 with 13:50 to play here in the first half on what, as John Jewett pointed out, is an absolutely gorgeous day in Greencastle. Here's the pitch back deep. DePauw with the trying to turn the right side is Scott Thies, and he will get maybe back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard or two on the game on the play. They'll give him 2, and it'll be second down and 8 yards to go. Joe, I get the feeling from talking to you that, that this is a totally different DePauw offense than what the Wabash defensive people thought was going to happen today.
At least early on it was. Now that DePauw seems to have run through its wide open offensive attack and is now running the ball more, this is more what the Little Giants expected. In fact, that play is exactly what they expected. Tyler Kelly lined up in a physical mismatch with outside linebacker Ryan Freeman, but the other guys on the team did a good job to come in and make the play from behind.
Well, you always got to save something special for a special game, and I guess this is pretty special right here. DePauw with the football. Second down and 8 yards to go. Back to passes here. And the pass incomplete. There's a good look at Kurt Hare, senior out of Tipton, Indiana. He's had 13 touchdown passes this year. And now it's third down. And DePauw will send Dekoff out of the lineup. And Ryan McGuffey comes back in at the wide receiver spot, coming right to the bottom of your screen, wearing number 1. Hare back on the shotgun, as he has been most of the afternoon. Looking for McGuffey, instead goes the other way, and wide open over the middle for the catch and the first down. The defender was there, but not much could be done about that one, as he found Tyler Kelly, number 85, the tight end, for some 15 yards. And DePauw digs out of a little bit of a hole.
Watch the cushion here by the Little Giant secondary, giving Tyler Kelly all kinds of room to run down the middle of the field. Just has to turn around and carry him in the ball.
Tyler Kelly, a fifth-year senior out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Don't forget Wabash playing with a makeshift defensive backfield. Kyle Case out for the last 3 weeks because of an injury. Chet Casper out because of a knee to the head earlier today. So 2 inexperienced DBs out there for the Little Giants.
And they picked on him that time around. Here's the pitch back to the deep man of the lineup. It is Thies over the right side. Gets it out almost to the 40-yard line. And a pickup of 4, make it second down and 6 yards to go now for the first down for the DePauw University Tigers. There's a look at Scott Thies. DePauw scored first in this game. Dan Ryan, a 2-yard pass from Kurt Hare. Wabash came back with a J.D. Flint 73-yard pass reception from Jake Knott. A couple of Matthew Griggs field goals, 28 and 30 yards. And that's how the ball game stands now, 13-7 with DePauw on top. And we're in the second period of play, 11:52 to go. Hare back looking. Then almost intercepted, tapped in the air, caught and then dropped. Incomplete pass. McGuffey almost got a gift there.
One of those inexperienced defensive backs we talked about, John Taphorn, makes a great play on the ball, and he was very lucky. If The DePauw receiver hangs onto that ball. That's a touchdown. But Taphorn did do a good job to step in and bat it up in the air.
Great play here by both teams to stay with it. McGuffey, as it's tapped in the air, tries to make the catch and gather it in, and then a Wabash DB comes back and strips it away from him. So both teams, good job with staying with the play.
Coaches were pretty happy with John Taphorn's performance last week against Hanover. Probably one of the most prolific passing teams in all of Division III, and Taphorn's done a nice job.
Back to pass again, Kurt Hare. Drops back, sets up what was going to be apparently a screen to Tyler Kelly until he dropped the football. Kelly just angled in from his tight end spot on the right side. Now it's a 4th down situation. And the punting unit will go out of the field now for the DePauw Tigers.
Kelly there looked to run with the ball before he had it in his grasp. As we'll probably see here by the replay, Hare back to pass. Kelly's going to come across over the middle. A good throw by Hare, but Kelly was looking upfield before he had the ball, as you can see right there.
This will be the first punt of the afternoon for the DePauw Special Teams unit. You see the deep man, Scott Thies, or I beg your pardon. It is taken by number 22 for the DePauw, for the Wabash Little Giants, and dropped almost immediately upon reception. 32-yard punt, -1 on the return.
And again, field position a key. See the replay here. Lonnie Heck unable to get away from the DePauw tackler, but field position's been huge in this game. DePauw starts. The first drive, the Wabash 43, their own 44 and their own 31. Wabash now their own 17, their own 24, their own 18, and now again deep in their own territory at about their own 7.
Joe, you and I were talking about this youngster, this number 22, Lonnie Heck, what kind of an explosive guy he can be. He had no chance to show us that time. Wide open reception up the middle out to the 30-yard line. Good protection that time for Jake Knott, and he found the receiver. It almost looked like a zone defense that DePauw was in. He found the hole in the middle, goes for 24 yards, and gets DePauw out of Wabash out of a very deep hole here.
And again, he turns to the most experienced receiver on this team, senior J.D. Flynn, who scored Wabash's only touchdown so far today. Jake, throwing from his own end zone, makes a perfect pass. J.D., as he always does, ran a great route, settled right down in the hole in the zone, and the Little Giants out of the shadow of the goal line.
And again, those freshmen come through. J.D. Flynn from Crawfordsville, 5'11", 174, freshman. Back to pass again is Knott. Knott this time will move the ball upfield, gets across the 35, 40, and shy of the 45-yard line. But that's enough for the first down, so what appeared to be a really disastrous situation for the Wabash offense turns very positive with a 13-yard pickup that time by Jake Knott. Gets him out into some reasonable field position.
And Knott makes a great decision to tuck the ball and run. He saw the hole in front of him and made the decision very quickly. That play illustrates the progress he has made this year. 5 weeks ago, he would not have been able to make that decision that quickly. You're seeing the maturation of freshman quarterback Jake Knott.
Number 90, Charles Standback, comes in at defensive end now for the DePauw defense, replacing Frisky Williams over there. Back to throw again is Knott. Knott's got all the time in the world, and he's found a receiver close to the first down territory, but it's an incomplete pass.
Good throw there by Knott. The Little Giant receiver just could not hold on. Keep in mind, as we talked about the Little Giant secondary playing with a makeshift group, the Tigers as well.
Second down and 10. Knott with a good ball over the middle, but dropped by Flynn. Note the great protection Knott had. This offensive line has been great. Thomas Brown, Matt Wilhelm at the tackles, Scott Berger and Bucky Kramer at the guards, and Wes Hunt, the steady leader, the senior at center. This offensive line has been terrific all year. As we mentioned earlier, they've only allowed 5 sacks all season.
Knott is 5 of 9 for 160 yards this afternoon. Jake is back to throw again. This time the pass is complete. He'll get maybe 3 yards on that pass. And it'll be we'll give him officially 3 yards. And make it a third down and about 7 yards to go now for Wabash.
We talked a good deal about the freshmen on both sides of the ball in this game, but we have to remember this is the last game of the season for both teams. These kids are almost sophomores.
That's exactly right.
Have been playing a lot for both squads, and it's showing here today and how much they're contributing for both teams.
So a third down situation for Wabash, 3rd and 7. They are all and 3 in third down conversions here this afternoon. Trips the bottom of your screen. Couple of wideouts to the right side likewise. Not back to throw again. Got the pass completion, gets the first down. And again, as Joe Emmick pointed out a couple of moments ago, terrific protection for Jake Knott. You can stand back there, and if you've got that much time, Joe, to pick out a receiver, you're going to find somebody. 9 yards on that pickup, but enough for the first down.
And here again, you see the great protection. Jake settles back, good form, zips it over the middle to Kurt Casper, the team's leading receiver. I think that's Kurt's first catch on the day, and Jake doing a good job settling down, finding the open receiver. And I'll tell you what, Jake doesn't look like a sophomore. He looks like a senior right now.
You mentioned his father, Dave, a 3-year letterman and quarterback for Wabash from 1966 through 68. Another pass completion, this time shy of the first down, but nonetheless completed to number 1, Kurt Casper out of Greenwood, Indiana. It's 9 yards on that play, and right now, Jake Knott is picking that defensive secondary of DePauw apart.
And you are seeing what makes this Wabash passing attack so potent. Great depth at all of the receiving positions. Early in the game, it was all Short and Flynn. Now all of a sudden, those two guys are attracting more coverage, and Knott is starting to spread it around. He's hit Casper a couple of times. Jake doing a great job checking off receivers, reading his progressions, and spreading the ball around.
Interesting to note that Casper has a touchdown reception on the season, as does Tim McHugh, Ryan Short. So you're right, they have spread it around throughout the season.
And Ryan pointed this out earlier, and this was something that the Wabash coaches touched on early in the week. They don't worry about freshmen in this game as much as you might think, because this is their first Monon Bell game. They don't know enough yet to be nervous.
That's what I mentioned earlier on in the telecast, that as a freshman, you ain't been there before. You're not quite sure what this is all about. You'll find they found out by now. Got a flag on the play procedure call against DePauw, against Wabash. And that'll march him back some 5 yards. And now the nose of the ball is just outside the 40-yard line.
Still waiting to hear a report on senior Tiger defensive back Patrick Winery, who I can see is up off the sports table and is trying to run something off, but we still don't know if he's going to be able to return in this football game.
That is the 4th penalty against Wabash. They've lost some 33 yards in the process this afternoon. On a second down, pass incomplete over the middle again. Good defensive effort by Joe Rogowski that time. He leads the team, or one of the team leaders, in passes broken up. He had 9 coming into this afternoon's game. I think he has a pretty good array of statistics. Leads the team in tackles with 79. So Joe Rogowski, one of the key guys defensively for DePauw out of Park Ridge, Illinois, the 6'2", 205-pound senior.
Rogowski, I guess a Deion Sanders-like player for the Tigers, was a receiver at one time, threw his helmet into the quarterback race at one point. So he's been all over the field.
Yeah, he wants to play both ways. Put me out there, coach. Put me in. Not again out of the shotgun. Looks to the slant in pattern to Kurt Casper. Casper's got it down to the 35-yard line and still shy of the first down. And decision time, perhaps. 5 yards on the pickup that time. Here's the replay again.
Not doing a good job hitting Casper on the slant, and a good job by the guards, Scott Berger and Bucky Kramer, to seal off the inside. Brings up 4th and short.
Now let's see what Greg Carlson's going to do here, guys. Here's a replay again with Casper with the football, and they're going to go for it. Greg Carlson in his 17th year at Wabash, 106 wins, 52 losses, 2 ties. And this is the Monon Bell game. No room for sissies out here. We'll go for the first down. Here's the pitch back deep. Hannum with the football, and he is brought down. And he did not get the first down. Terrific defensive effort by the DePauw defensive unit.
Number 45, Andy Nardo, with a great open field tackle there. And they did not get the first down on the play. It looked like they were going to get it, but Nardo comes out of nowhere to drag down the Little Giant tailback.
I just looked at the crowd and realized how many people have come in since this game has started, because the entire sideline that we're located on is mostly DePauw fans, and they roared when the attempted first down on 4th down was not successful. Here's the pitch back again.
We talk about this game being about the seniors, and we see one making a huge play right here, number 45, Andy Nardo, coming across the field to make the stop.
So DePauw will get the football. The nose is right on the 35-yard line. The DePauw Tigers leading 13-7 with 7:45 to go. Second quarter of play on a beautiful fall afternoon here in Greencastle this afternoon. Back to throw again. And the pass is complete to the near side. And Tyler Kelly at tight end gets it out across the 40. right at the 40-yard line. There's a good look at Kelly from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I mentioned the fifth-year senior. Big guy at 6'3", 228.
Joe, we were talking about some surprises from the Tiger offense, and throwing to Tyler Kelly has really been a big surprise for me here today. They really haven't went to him that much. He's known for his blocking, an outstanding blocker on that offensive line. They say the best blocker of the offensive line, but he's caught some big balls here today in this game.
2nd down and 5. And not much doing on this play up the middle.
Good play by defensive lineman Matt Mercer. We called his name earlier. He is another one of the outstanding freshmen on this Wabash team. Makes a good stop. You've noticed how many freshmen we mentioned today. You can imagine what people are feeling about the future of Wabash football after this season.
Well, both sides of football for that matter, Joe. There's a lot of freshmen out there on that DePauw side of the line also. 3rd down. DePauw wearing the home black uniforms, the black and gold and the white and red of Wabash College. Open, pass reception again, and once again they go to the tight end, Tyler Kelly, who set up on the far side.
And another one of the young players on this Wabash defense making a good play, Brad Taphorn, who made a nice play on a pass in the last drive, does a good job to come over and make the tackle for what appears to be a tackle short of the first down for DePauw. And now there seems to be some question over the spot, but where the official's standing now, looks like it'll bring up 4th down and short. Great play by Taphorn to race over and make that tackle.
Well, we're talking inches right now, guys. It's a good, strong defensive effort turned in by Wabash, but you must give him the furthest progression of the football, and that's what they have done just shy of the 45, and Nick Moroza's calling for a timeout. And he will get it. The DePauw Tigers will take the timeout. Nick is not particularly happy with the spot of that football.
We saw that tackle by Brad Taphorn, and if you noticed, he had perfect technique on the tackle. This Wabash defense is exceptionally well coached, and it just so happens that the two defensive coaches, defensive coordinator Joe Bevelheimer and defensive line and linebackers coach Nick Cronk, are Wabash players and have played in this game.
Well, once again, let's take a look at these two outstanding colleges, DePauw University and the Wabash College.
I think what makes Wabash so special is that you can get involved in anything, that you're given the responsibility, that people put trust in you, and you're expected to perform. And if you mess up, you mess up. And you got to pick up the pieces and get back together and learn from your mistakes and try and make it a little better next time. It's not easy. If you want to learn how to think, learn how to write and speak, come to Wabash. You'll be something when you leave here, no questions about it.
The broadcast of the Monon Bell Classic is underwritten with support from the following. Mikhail Cook and Welch, whose 5 DePauw graduates and 5 Wabash graduates are proud to present this telecast of the Monon Bell Classic. Mikhail Cook and Welch, committed to providing innovative legal services since 1933. Service-oriented, results-driven, Mikhail Cook and Welch. Brewer Furniture, located in Ladoga, Waynetown, and Avon, and the Brewer family salute the players of the Monon Bell. Brewer Furniture features Serta, Lazy Boy, Hooker, and Keller products and is committed to offering fine home furnishings and reliable service in a home-like setting. Family-owned and operated since 1978.
See, DePauw still has the football. They got the first down in that 4th and inches situation. We'll show it to you in just a moment here. Back to throw again for DePauw. Kurt Hare, he's going upfield, long way. McGuffey's got it, touchdown. Ryan McGuffey simply outran every defender for a 55-yard touchdown pass. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan, I don't know if somebody goofed up in the secondary, but he simply outran everybody over there.
He's one of the fastest players in the history of the program, Jerry, and we talk about seniors. Here's a senior making a huge play in this ball game, as McGuffey did.
Here is the first down play that you missed just a moment ago. This is where they had 4th and inches, and that set up the first down, that set up the 55-yard touchdown pass from Kurt Hare to Ryan McGuffey, and here it is.
Here we see number 17, Curtis Ross from the Little Giants, just cannot keep up with McGuffey. He's got a good 5-yard cushion right there. Hare's able to throw it just within his grasp. McGuffey brings it in for the huge play for the Tigers.
Looked like DePauw had single coverage on McGuffey out wide to the right. Ross in the game replacing the injured Chet Casper, a senior who would normally line up at that position. And DePauw doing a good job going after these reserve defensive backs for the Little Giants.
And it appears as though DePauw would go for the 2-point conversion. If they do, they're 1 for 4 on the season in that particular department. It's 19-7 right now, and we'll get a timeout taken by DePauw. Let's recap this situation. A spot that did not please Nick Morozes at all. He complained, called the timeout. It was 4th and inches. They got the first down, and very quickly Kurt Hare set up Ryan McGuffey. And McGuffey, that junior out of Portage, Indiana, got behind the defensive secondary and just flat out ran everybody over there. Let's head down to the field now. Davey Neal is down there. Davey?
Thank you, Jerry. I'm here with Mike Funk, Wabash class of 1989. Mike, congratulations. Last night inducted into the Wabash Hall of Fame. Mike, tell me what your feelings are coming back your first game after being inducted into the Hall of Fame, watching Kurt Casper, who just this year eclipsed your single-game receptions record.
Well, to be honest with you, it was a great honor while at Wabash to be able to set some records, but I can't be happier for Kurt and the rest of the Wabash Wabash offense to be able to put up those kind of numbers and break those kind of records. So I'm definitely a big fan of Kurt Casper.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike. Congratulations and enjoy the rest of the game. Thank you. Back to you, Jerry.
Hey, Davey, thank you much. It seems appropriate that when you look down the bio of Ryan McGuffey, you find that last year he earned the Coaches Award in track. He also earned 2 letters in track and field, and that time he showed why. He turned on the afterburners, and Ryan McGuffey with a terrific touchdown catch in the open field, so to speak, but didn't beat the defenders. They had no shot at it. Here's the conversion, and DePauw will go for the 2-point conversion. They're up by a 19-7 score. There again out of the shotgun. He spread the field wide to the right side, looking that direction, throws into the end zone and caught. And who do you think it is? Tyler Kelly again.
You know, I have to think Wabash is just as shocked as I am that they're going to Tyler Kelly so often. As we talked about, he's so known for his blocking. As Coach Nick said over lunch on Thursday, I think he learned his blocking from Jay Pettigrew, one of the stars of the 96 squad that went 9-1. But Kelly, you can't say enough through the air today.
Well, I was looking here, Ryan, at the numbers on Kelly this year. His best total in a game this year was 6. He caught 6 passes against Illinois Wesleyan and 6 more against Trinity. And in no other game has he caught more than 4, and they have really used him as a specific target this afternoon.
Definitely. 5
plays, 65 yards, 2 minutes, 39 seconds. The 2-point conversion is good. It's a 21-7 football game right now in favor of DePauw for the Monon Bell, and you can probably hear the bell in the background.
See Hare dropping back here. And McGuffey, as we talked about, one of the fastest players in the history of the program. I think he broke some type of speed record set by Jamie Kuna, another player, and there was a deep threat on that 96 team that went 9-1. McGuffey, supposedly on paper, is faster than Kuna, which is about as fast as it gets at the D3 level.
That's pretty quick, I'm sure. There's a look at DePauw's kicker, Matthew Griggs. He is set to kick off now with DePauw on top by 21-7. 5 minutes and 5 seconds to go here in the first half. It's the battle for the bell. You could not have won a better day. People here in shirt sleeves, shorts. As in contrast to some of the nasty weather this game has enjoyed, if you'll let me use that word, over the last several years.
This is definitely too nice for a Monon Bell game, Jerry.
This is perfect here. And the crowd just keeps pouring in. Every time you look up when there's an empty section, the next time you glance up there, somebody's filled it up. And they bring in extra bleachers, I should point that out. They bring in extra bleachers all around the field to accommodate the huge contingent of fans that head for this Monon Bell game. The kick is short, taken at about the 15 to 16-yard line, and brought back just shy of the 30-yard line.
You talk about the bleachers, and I'm sure that some alums across the country realize, but I'm sure people around the state of Indiana probably don't, that the Tigers are used to playing in front of a crowd of probably about 400 folks at the most, and this is just a totally different atmosphere.
But they're loyal, 400.
They're loyal, 400. You better believe it.
Jake Knott stays in it the quarterback slot now for Wabash, and they will again set trips to the left side. And Knott has spent much of this day in this particular formation with nobody in the backfield for pass protection. So he's going to have to get rid of the ball in a hurry. He does. Going out to the near side. Pass is complete. Taken and finally run out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Good pass reception. Good pickup of 11 yards on that play. Going to Corey Bernard.
Wabash getting a great blocking effort from its receivers on these flanker screens. There again, you see a good block out front from Graber to seal off the play from the DePauw defender and allow Barnard to pick up the first down.
Barnard is one of a number of receivers. Wabash also spreads the offense out a little bit likewise. Not back to throw, comes over the middle, wide open receiver that time, and the former number 88 Ryan Short, the H-back, who was set up as a blocking back, then released, came up the middle, gets a 19-yard pickup, and Ryan Short, who has a couple of touchdown receptions this year, the freshman out of Indianapolis, gives Wabash good field position, another first down.
Not too short. I think we're going to be hearing that a lot in the next few years of this rivalry.
I think you can bet on that.
Yeah, freshman to freshman, I wouldn't want to bet on it either. Not again. The ball is at the 40-yard line. And again, the protection is pretty severe. It does break down a bit. They get it to Kurt Casper, and Casper is inside the 30, and that's another first down for the Little Giants of Wabash. 13-yard pickup, and credit Jake Knott with being able to get away from the defenders. I mean, that offensive line can only hold up for so long, and eventually it's going to break down, and when it did, Knott broke free and got the pass completion.
Here you see Knott again throwing on the run. We mentioned this is a weak part of his game, but here he made a fine pass to pick up another first down.
Knott is 12 of 17. And a flag on the play. The pass is caught at about the 19-yard line, but there is a penalty marker down.
I think DePauw was offside on the play. If so, Wabash will, of course, decline the penalty and take the long gain for the first down. The greatest quarterback in Wabash history is Chris Ings. He emerged as a Wabash star in his freshman year in this very game and dominated the series. There are many people who feel that Jake Knott is already on his way to eclipsing the terrific numbers Chris Ings posted. If so, Knott is emerging as a star in this game. He's been terrific.
Ings was something very, very special.
I was just going to mention something like that. You hate to put too much pressure on someone in their freshman year, but his elusiveness, the way he finds players, on broken plays, it really rings a bell as far as Chris Ings. A guy at the WGRI radio staff we called Mr. Monon Bell during his career for the Little Giants.
Another guy who brings up memories of a former star is Ryan Short. Jamie Bowers graduated last year as a terrific H-back. Bowers was so good, in fact, he made it to New England Patriots training camp, ended up being with them till the final cut. A lot of people think Ryan Short has Jamie Bowers potential. So what fans saw in the mid-90s from Wabash and the Monon Bell series, they may see here in the next few years, in the early years of the new century with these freshmen. They have just been terrific.
The penalty was against DePauw, as George suggested. It was declined by Wabash, so the Little Giants have it. Second down and just a couple of inches to go for the first down. They bring it right up the middle and get that first down call. Not so far today is 12 of 17 through the air for 229 yards. Let's go down to the field. Lindsey Clutter. Lindsey?
Thank you, Jerry. Right now I'm standing with Daryl Lindquist, class of 1968 from DePauw. He wrote the ballad for the Monon Bell, but he also played in the game. Out of all this, what is your fondest memory, Daryl?
It's got to be the '66 game where we won on a field goal with 30 seconds left with a classmate of mine, Tim Feemster. Unfortunately, I followed up my senior year us getting beat, but it's got to be the '66 game, absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. And back to you, Jerry.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Beautiful day here in Greencastle. Back to pass again, and another penalty marker down. The pass is intercepted. We'll see how this shakes out with the penalty marker. It is taken by Jaquette. Oh, beg your pardon. It is Nardo, the outside linebacker, who picks off the pass. But now let's wait and see the penalty call.
We'll have to wait and see what the flag's about. But a second big, huge play of the day for Andy Nardo. He stopped Little Giant tailback on that.
Against Wabash, so we're going to decline that, of course. First down, DePauw. Andy Nardo, that's his first pass interception this year.
And After a terrific start, Knott makes a freshman mistake. Nardo standing right there, not sure how Knott missed him, and he threw it right to him over the middle. Easy play for Nardo. Big mistake for Jake Knott that wipes out a potential scoring play.
You hear about quarterbacks looking off defenders, and I have a feeling right there Knott might have locked onto a receiver. Nardo probably read that, and the ball went right to him.
Yeah, I think Joe's right. I don't think he ever saw him that time. I'm not sure he even realized he was there.
14th pick Knott is thrown on the year against the 19 touchdown pass.
And a 30-yard return on that great defensive play turned in by Nardo. DePauw offense back on the field to come up to the near side to Ryan McGuffey. McGuffey gets by the first defender and then is knocked down hard just across midfield. Number 38, Brad Taphorn, that sophomore from Indianapolis, in to make the stop. Taphorn played at Ritter High School. 9 yards on the pickup, 2nd down and 1. Here it is again, guys.
We see a little screen pass out to McGuffey in the flats, trying to utilize his speed behind some blockers. Just really had nowhere to run after he got about 5 yards.
Hare gives the ball deep to number 22, Scott Thies. Thies bangs it up the middle, across the 45, down to the 43-yard line, with the clock showing 2:22 to play in this first half. 21-10, DePauw leads Wabash in the Monon Bell game. Pick up a 6 yards on the play. Nathan Boulay in on the stop. Italy first down and 10. Hare came to the sideline to talk to the coaching staff very briefly. Now hustles back out on the field. Dan Ryan had gone into the game. Ryan comes to the near sideline. They will set 2 running backs back to protect Hare this time. He looks quickly to the near side, and the pass incomplete. They were throwing to Joe Shane, the wide receiver.
But Chet Casper made the defensive play. We had a report earlier that Casper was out for the day.
Yes.
He had taken a knee to the head, but apparently he or someone on the sideline has decided that he's okay to play, and he's back in the ballgame.
We've talked a good deal about the freshman for the Tigers on offense, but we can't say enough as well about Kurt Hare. He's really progressed as we've found our way with the running backs and such, completing over 61% of his passes in the last 3 games. Really had a great season.
One of the co-captains of this club, an economics major at DePauw University. Hare back to throw again. Fakes, pumps, throws it almost intercepted. He threw it right into the hands of Nathan Boulay, who could not bring it home.
That would have been Boulay's first interception of the season. Among the big plays he's made this year, interception has not been one of them, and that would have certainly been a huge play for this Wabash defense. As it is, he breaks up the play and forces a 3rd and long.
Pass broken up. He is that's his 3rd one of the year as far as passes broken up are concerned coming into the game today. Now we're inside 2 minutes, 1:55 to go. First half of play. A couple of really long, sensational plays. Some great defensive efforts on both sides of the line. It's 21-7 now DePauw. Hare back with protection. Ball tipped again and almost intercepted. And once again, we could have had the intercept. And it is Trevin Upkes with his 3rd pass broken up of the season.
And the 3rd time today, Wabash has broken up a pass that probably should have been an interception. This time, though, it was a 3rd down play, so Wabash will get the ball back.
As you say, Joe, back-to-back plays that probably should have been intercepted. Coach Nick talked a lot this week about how Hare's understood in these last few games about not trying to do too much. The emergence of Thies has helped in that regard. But there, I think we saw in the last 2 plays, tried a little bit too much.
Kurt Ware set to punt now. He has averaged right at 39 yards per punt on the season. He's had 1 punt today for 33. This one takes a good Wabash bounce, goes into the end zone. They'll bring it out to 20 on the touchback. And with 1:42 to go, Wabash will get the football with a chance to get back into this football game, down 21-7. 43-yard punt, nets to 23 when it goes into the end zone.
Come on, baby.
Wabash football on their own 20-yard line. First down and 10. They're down by 14, 21-7. And Jake Knott will bring the ball club back to the line of scrimmage. Slot to the left side. Not rolling, looking, and caught. Pass is complete to number 4, Corey Barnard. And that's a 20-yard pickup for Corey. And a first down. They'll move the chains and then restart the clock when the chains have been successfully moved. Here's a replay again. Awfully good look by Jake Knott this time.
As we see, the Tigers can't fall into a prevent defense here too early in this late going of the second quarter, as the receiver really didn't have a player within 7 yards around him for the Little Giants.
Not again. Good block in the backfield, then threw a poor pass that was picked off the carpet momentarily and then fumbled away for the incomplete pass.
DePauw certainly didn't play a prevent defense that time. They pinned their ears back. It came right after Jake Knott. You see, one of the reasons that Wabash has only allowed 5 sacks on the year, most of that due to the fact the offensive line's terrific, but Jake's pretty good about moving around there and unloading the ball and not taking sacks.
Jake is 14 of 21 now. 1 intercept, 1 touchdown, 258 yards to his credit. He's had a good first half. Here he is again. He escapes 1 tackler. Finally is brought down at the 35-yard line. A just flat run out of time. A loss of 5 on the play for Knott with 1:05 seconds to go in this first half of play. And Brian Close, who backs up Rob Dinwiddie at that defensive tackle spot's the guy that got him. Quickly now, Wabash back to the line of scrimmage. Knott again trying to find some receivers. He's got a receiver, and it is caught just shy of the 45-yard line. Kurt Casper reception for 10 yards. And the clock continues to wind down. It's down to 35 seconds.
A little surprised Wabash hasn't taken a timeout here. It's a 4th down play, and they have all 3 timeouts left.
Now the clock shows 22 seconds to go. Knott will keep the ball, trying to get out of bounds and pick up the first down. He hits the 10-yard marker, and that should give him the first down. It will also stop the clock with 15 seconds to play.
Andy Nardo there again on the 4th down tackle. But you have to wonder, you brought it up, Joe. They wasted about 15 seconds there, and you would think they would burn a timeout. Not that close to the end zone, trying to sustain this drive before the half.
Well, sometimes coaches won't take a timeout there, hoping that they can catch the defense off guard, but Wabash took so much time getting the play started that it really didn't matter. DePauw still had an opportunity to get its defense set.
Yeah, you can't carry those over. You might as well use them, I would think. Not in deep formation. Out of the shotgun again. Looking. Again, good protection. Going for it all. He's got a receiver, and he overthrew him. He had Kurt Casper at about the 5-yard line and threw it over his head, and now the clock shows 7.8 seconds to go in this first half. This is a whole lot different, gentlemen, than last year when it was 35-zip at halftime. You still got a football game going here.
Here we see Knott trying to uncork a big play again, going deep to Casper. Looked like he might have had him open. I'd like to see what Casper's doing here on the tail end of the play. Looking at it live, it appeared that he may have stopped on the route instead of running through it. But on the replay, it looks like that ball was well overthrown. Even if he had kept running, he probably would not have been able to make the catch.
Could be the final play of the first half. Knott gets it complete again and getting it out of bounds with 0 showing on the clock. The pass was complete all right to J.D. Flynn. He could not get out of bounds despite the 26-yard pickup. So at halftime, it is a 21-7 football game with DePauw out in front. A couple of sensational plays, a couple of field goals, and both clubs know how to head toward their respective locker rooms. There's J.D. Flynn, who caught the ball but simply could not get out of bounds in time to give them one more shot at it. And that is the halftime score. The big battle for the bell today, 21-7 DePauw. Guys, your thoughts on the first half of this game?
Wabash responded when they fell behind 7-0 with the long touchdown pass to J.D. Flynn, and it looked like they would be able to stay with DePauw in this first half, although down 2 touchdowns, certainly not out of it. They have to be disappointed trailing 21-7. Again, the big key right now has been field position. Wabash simply has not made it difficult for DePauw to score. DePauw's been able to shorten the field.
Got the coach.
On the Tiger side of things, I've been very impressed with the diversity of the offense. The defense has bent but not broken yet, and it's shown on the scoreboard.
can ask him.
All right, we're at halftime, and there is your score. Let's swing down to the sidelines, and another member of our television crew this afternoon, George Seacrest. George?
Thanks, Jerry. Good first half, 21-7. What was the key so far in the first half?
Well, I think we can run the football, and that helps us out, running and passing. And the game is not over, even though it's 21-7. I know these games can turn around in a hurry. But I think that we're able to run the football, and I think that's going to be crucial in the second half.
What are you going to tell the boys at halftime to ice this thing?
It's nothing to nothing. That's what I'm going to tell them, so we can win the second half.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back to you, Jerry.
All right, Davey, thank you very much. There's the bell right there. And let's take a look at this terrific university located here in Greencastle, Indiana. It's DePauw University, and that's up next in our halftime show.
Throughout our 160-year history, DePauw University has prepared men and women for places of leadership. Because of your generous support, this tradition continues.
There you have a look at DePauw University. They lead 21-7. And with that 7 on the scoreboard, Wabash College. And let's take a look at this terrific university located in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Get any work done at all. Well, there's your crowd here today, and what a great crowd it is, and what a beautiful day it is for football. Let's go to the halftime stats, guys. 21-7 is the score of the time of possession. Not much differential there. Passing yardage. Here's where things get out of whack, Joe. You were talking about the yardage versus the score versus yardage, and it has not worked out well for Wabash.
Wabash with 321 yards of total offense in the first half. Coming into the game, they averaged 373 yards of total offense per game, but only 7 points to show for that 321 yards of total offense. And Ryan, starting field position has been the big key in this game.
Well, really, if you have that much yardage and only 7 points, that's really got to be the tail of the tape, and that's been the story of this ball game. DePauw has started their drives in a better spot and better field position than Wabash has. Wabash has moved the ball more effectively, but they only have 7 points to show for it. As I mentioned, the Tiger defense has been a great deal, but they haven't broken.
You see the rushing yardage on your screen for DePauw. Scott Thies with 33 yards, Joe Shane with 23 from the rushing side of things. Wabash College, Jake Knott is the top rusher with 17, and when your quarterback is your top rusher, you got a problem. Here's a look at DePauw on the offensive side of the football. One of the early touchdown receptions in this game.
We see the first touchdown to Dan Ryan. And we talk about freshmen in this game, and we're wondering how they were going to react. This was one of the first plays of the game, and Ryan able to gather the ball and power into the end zone.
Officially a 2-yard pass reception. Here's Wabash getting a terrific pass from Jake Knott to J.D. Flynn. This baby goes for 73 yards.
Flynn's longest reception of the year, a terrific play, good blocking out front. Flynn does the rest. outrunning the slower defender. This touchdown play came right after Wabash fell behind 7-0. It appeared Wabash had recovered from giving up that touchdown. They had tied the game. The crowd was into it. The players were into it. And they never could build off that momentum, get anything else going. And I think that may be what disappoints this Wabash crowd most, that Wabash had signs of life early. They had tied the game, but they haven't been able to do much since then.
In fact, Joe, that DePauw touchdown came at 11:01 and the Wabash touchdown at 10:01. So it's 60 seconds apart there. And as you suggest, Wabash could not make anything happen there. The DePauw Tigers then came back with a couple of Matthew Griggs field goals, one from 28 yards and the other from 30 yards out. And then DePauw added on their final score with Ryan McGuffey, a 55-yard pass from Kurt Hare. They went for the two-point conversion, and the halftime score is 21-7. And you suspect right now that both coaches are in the locker room looking at this game as was suggested a few moments ago, a long way from over.
Definitely. 35-0 is a totally different story than 21-7, as you can probably imagine. And I think it was summed up probably Coach Carlson's points to the team, as well as Coach Nick's going to tell the squad, it's 0-0 right now, fellas. We've known this game can turn in an eyelash or in a wink, and 14 points is not that much in the Monon Bell rivalry.
I think what Greg Carlson is addressing in his locker room is that his kids need to pay attention to some of the little things. We mentioned they have great offensive numbers, 321 yards of total offense, but just 7 points. The field position plays into that. DePauw's average starting field position, their own 41. Wabash is their own 20. Other things have factored in. The Wabash folks felt special teams would be a big factor, and while there haven't been any devastating special teams plays work against Wabash, little things have. Missed tackles on consecutive kick and punt returns to give DePauw good field position. DePauw's hit 2 field goals while Wabash has missed a field goal. And then at the end, really a poor job of managing the clock, which again may be one of the few things that comes into play with Jake Knott being a freshman quarterback. So those are the little things that can add up in a game like this and make a difference. We talked earlier about trying to find storylines that weren't the old cliches about winning the turnover battle and blocking and tackling, but you can't get away from it because in a game like this, when the two teams are so evenly matched, that's what it comes down to, the basics. And I think that's what Greg is probably addressing with his kids right now, tighten up the little things.
Some special team surprises as well for the Tigers, as Matthew Griggs towed through 2 field goals there in that first half. He didn't even play in the last game. He's been battling injuries, so kind of a shock there. I think it's very important in his confidence to get that first one through, and I think it tailed off onto the second field goal.
As we suggested, one from 28 and one from 30 yards out. Interesting also to note that J.D. Flynn on the Wabash side of things, 133 yards receiving on 4 catches, including a touchdown and a 73-yarder. So, Joe, he stepped up big time, has J.D. Flynn this afternoon.
He certainly has. He came into the season as the team's premier receiver, drew double coverage early. That opened up Kurt Casper. Now it's coming full circle. Casper's had a great month to end the season. Now he's drawing more attention, and J.D. Flynn is back at the forefront of the passing game.
Let's pause for a moment again, guys, for a word from our universities, DePauw and Wabash, and from our sponsor of the Monon Bell game this afternoon, our good friends McHale, Cook, and Welch.
Quality and character. We have young men of character, and I think that's very important. We have young men that are students first, athletes second, and they keep that in a proper perspective when they get here.
The broadcast of the Monon Bell Classic is underwritten with support from the following. McHale, Cook, and Welch, whose 5 DePauw graduates and 5 Wabash graduates are proud to present this telecast of the Monon Bell Classic. McHale, Cook, and Welch, committed to providing innovative legal services since 1933. Service-oriented, results-driven, McHale, Cook, and Welch. Brewer Furniture, located in Ladoga, Waynetown, and Avon, and the Brewer family salute the players of the Monon Bell. Brewer Furniture features Serta, Lazy Boy, Hooker, and Keller products and is committed to offering fine home furnishings and reliable service in a home-like setting. Family-owned and operated since 1978.
We are back in the booth at the DePauw University campus. Jerry Baker, along with Joe Emmick, Ryan Burke, Lindsey Clutter, Davey Neal, and George Seacrest, all up here. Joe, you pointed out there was that piece we just saw about Wabash, a gentleman who's going to be participating in the Olympics. Or not participating, but being involved with the Olympics.
You saw in the previous piece Rob Johnson, the head track and field coach and cross-country coach at Wabash. He will be a member of the coaching staff for the United States men's track and field team in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia, something in which we take a great deal of pride, and it continues a tradition. Stan Huntsman, Wabash class of 1954, who had been the head track coach at Tennessee and Texas, has also coached in 2 Olympic Games. He's been the head coach. So we're very proud of a track tradition at Wabash College.
What a terrific honor it must be to represent your nation in any way, shape, or form. Let's swing back down to the field now on this beautiful Saturday afternoon to George Seacrest.
Hey, thanks, guys. Look who I found. Dave Knott, 69 quarterback Wabash. Now, his son, Jake, is quarterback today. How's the game going?
Well, DePauw is playing very well right now, George. All the little things that determine the outcome of the football game are going their way. They had a couple stops on 4th down. Wabash had 2 opportunities and came up short on 4th down through the interception. We botched up a couple of kicks, and DePauw's made all the plays. The quarterback's 12 out of 13, no fumbles. If they continue to play like that, they're going to win. We got to hope in the second half we can shorten the field, get a quick, easy touchdown with a turnover maybe, because DePauw's just playing flawlessly right now.
Now, if you were in the locker room right now, what would you be telling the team?
Well, I would tell them that the game's not over, obviously. I think we've outgained them statistically, so we're able to move the ball. I think Wabash defensively has to spend most of their attention trying to stop DePauw, because every time we do get the ball, we're 85, 90 yards away. We got to get a stop out in the middle of the field. We got to create a turnover. We got to somehow turn the emotion of the game around. I would dwell on somebody making a big play, and I think to do that in football, you got to gamble a little bit. You got to maybe blitz more than you want to, or do something to get the crowd involved on our side.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Dave Knott, a 3-year letterman at quarterback for Wabash, 66, 67, and 68. His son Jake against Mount St. Joseph. Maybe you can comment on this, guys. 368 yards passing, the 5th best single game in school history. And already this afternoon, he's off to a pretty darn good start with 295 yards.
Well, Jake, as we mentioned all afternoon, is going to be one of the all-time greats if he's able to stay healthy over the course of his 4-year career. And it was interesting, he was asked in a press conference earlier in the week his thoughts on eclipsing what his father did for a career in 1 season, and he knows who's in charge, because his answer was, hey, look, Dad played in the 60s, they didn't throw much, they didn't have the long bomb. So Jake's certainly enjoying his season, but certainly making sure he pays the proper credit
as
to Dad.
well he should, I suppose. All right, here's a look at the last pass. This is Kurt Hare back to throw, and Ryan McGuffey.
McGuffey, we've talked about his speed, and we've talked a lot in this game about the freshmen, but it always seems that the seniors are the guys making the play. And McGuffey right here goes a long, long way on this pass route. Just got about 5 steps on the defender, and it was over after Hare threw a pretty good ball.
All together officially 55 yards from Kurt Hare to Ryan McGuffey. They went for the 2-point conversion, got it, and it's 21-7 at halftime, with DePauw on top in this battle for the Monon Bell. The DePauw Tigers are back on the field. Wabash Little Giants just now coming through the barricades around the end of the stadium here. They'll be back on the field momentarily. And shortly we'll be going down to George on the sideline again. In fact, let's go down there right now. George Seacrest.
All right, thanks. Coach, 14 points behind. What did you tell the boys at halftime?
We got to make some plays. We haven't made any plays in the first half. We've had a chance and haven't made them. We got to make some plays. They are, we're not. It's a difference in the game.
Well, it seems a lot closer than the score is. How do you motivate your guys to really get up to that next notch of enthusiasm and motivation?
Well, again, I think it's the players have to make a play. We've been in position. We've had 4 interceptions go right through our hands, and so we just have to make some plays. That's all I can. That's what I told them.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Good luck. Back to the booth.
All right, George. Greg is 106, 52-2, a 1970 graduate of the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, master's degree from Oklahoma. Came to Wabash in 1980 as the defensive coordinator under Stan Parrish, and what a terrific effort and history Stan Parrish left behind at that terrific school. Two-time Indiana Collegiate Athletic Conference Coach of the Year in 91 and 92, and the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference Coach of the Year in 98. He's been here before, Joe. He knows what it takes to get his ball club back into this football game. I think by no means are we looking at a game that's over yet from either one of your perspectives.
No, and one of the positives I think Wabash can take from this is even though they haven't popped a big scoring play other than the touchdown pass to J.D. Flynn, unlike last year, they know they can stop DePauw when they want to stop them, and they know they can move the ball on them. Last year, they just knew they couldn't do anything against the Tigers. This year, they have to feel pretty good that if they can just get one or two plays to go their way, they're going to be all right.
And yet, Wabash came into that game last year with a big reward hanging on that game and simply did not meet the expectations of themselves and everybody else that backed that ball club.
As we all look back on it, we can do nothing but give credit to DePauw. They came to play and played a flawless football game. Even if Wabash had been on its game and played its best, it would have been tough to beat DePauw.
And Ryan, there's a goal for DePauw this afternoon. When you're 4-5, 5-5 looks a whole lot better.
Definitely, and always winning the Monon Bell makes the season look that much brighter. The seniors also going to retire the bell here in the game today, 4 straight years for their time here in Greencastle.
You see the Wabash club lining up. They will kick off to DePauw. DePauw's number 12, Joe Shane, standing deep. Rondell Ferguson, number 19, likewise back there on the near side. Wabash will kick off. DePauw will get the football to begin the second half. 21-7 DePauw. Second half kickoff underway. It is a very, very short kick, taken at the 30-yard line by one of the up men across the 35, near the 37-yard line. It is, was it Tohill? Ryan Tohill. 9-yard return. And again, the wind is not a factor of the streamers at the top of the goalpost hanging very, very limp. So neither club with an advantage or disadvantage from a win standpoint this afternoon. DePauw football, Kurt Hare at quarterback as he has been throughout this game. Shane, Tohill, Thies. We've seen Dan Ryan in the backfield. McGuffey has been in the wideout spots along with Mike Dekoff. Tyler Kelly's been one of the main targets for Kurt Hare this afternoon. 1-yard pickup there. Tyler Kelly, 4 catches, 41 yards. We might not have expected that, Ryan.
Not at all. As we talked about, Tyler Kelly known for his blocking, and he's been a big target here today in this game. I think the Tigers have done a very good job on offense, keeping the Little Giants one step behind on defense. They've gone to some people, they've run some formation. I think that's really shocked the Little Giants.
They have taken Joe Shane out of the lineup now, has DePauw. They have put Dan Ryan, the freshman out of Cincinnati, Ohio, onto the field. Start him in motion, as a matter of fact. Swing him out to the near side. The deep handoff given to Scott Thies. Thies up the middle, got a couple of yards and not much more than that, as that Wabash defense got very tough up front. Eric Magnuson, Ryan Gibson, B.J. Hammer, Joe Trebley, all of that front 4.
Good job that time by the Wabash front 4. They'd had some trouble in the first half shutting down the runs into the line, but a nice job that time to bring up 3rd down. And they need a big stop here because that kickoff was exactly what Wabash did not want to start this second half, giving DePauw a good field position again.
Scott Thies comes out of the lineup. A couple of guys left back to protect the quarterback, Kurt Hare. Hare with time. Hare over the middle, gets the pass completion. And across the midfield stripe, just across the midfield stripe. A 7-yard pickup, and that'll move the chain gang again.
And the start to this half is another illustration of what we discussed at halftime. A failure on Wabash's part to do the little things. Something as simple as the opening kickoff of the second half has now caused problems for the Wabash defense. DePauw, after a couple of plays, already has the ball at midfield.
Joe Shane with his 4th pass reception of the afternoon. Yeah, it's easier to dig out of the hole when the hole starts at about the 35-yard line. The fake pitch, the give on the inside, and not much going there. In fact, maybe back to the line of scrimmage, if at all. Ryan Tohill climbs off the turf for the 1-yard pickup officially. Good defensive stop of the front unit of the Wabash defensive line.
Right after Tohill received the handoff from Kurt Hare. There's Boulay, the freshman, and Tohill had nowhere to go.
Well, this Boulay is an outstanding player. Leads the team in tackles with 88. Number 2 in sacks with 5. He has a couple of passes broken up coming into the game. He already has 1 here this afternoon. On a second down and long situation. Once again, they give the ball to Thies. Thies will get it across the 45, near the 44. And a pickup of 5 will make it a third down scenario and 5 yards to go. With 12:18 to go in the third quarter, here's a look at it again.
Here we see Thies on the carry, the sweep over the right side. Thies does a great job of waiting for his blocks to occur. And the Tiger offensive line has done a good job all season long in creating holes for him. We see right there he hits the hole hard and gets the gain.
And this is what the coaching staff expected from this DePauw offense. They expected DePauw to run right at outside linebacker Ryan Freeman. They did it on that play, and that really is what this Wabash defensive coaching staff expected to see from the Tigers today.
You bring up a good point, Joe. 5'9", 171 is Freeman, and Coach Nick talked about trying to exploit that linebacker.
Sean Serenowski shaken up on that last play, and the offensive right tackle comes out of the lineup, at least for one set. Slot left side again. They keep a couple of guys in the backfield to give Kurt Hare some pass protection. He gets the wide open pass in and out of the hands that time. They were going to go left side, and simply nothing out there to Dan Ryan. He was there but couldn't hang on to the football.
Looks like they had a little miscommunication on the route as Ryan had stopped and Hare led him. As you'll see here on the replay, Hare drops back. Ryan's already stopped, and it's all he can do to grab out and try and get a hand on that football.
And that is a huge defensive stop for Wabash. After letting DePauw begin this drive at the 40-yard line, a big stop, and Wabash getting the ball back here without giving up any points on DePauw's first possession of the second half.
Kurt Ware has punted twice in this game for an average of 38 yards. He punted 6 times during the season for 39-3. Punts it deep, taking it back at about the 6-yard line. Running room for Wabash. They get it out near the 20-yard line.
Freshman Lonnie Heck on the return. We mentioned what a great special teams player he has been. He has the perfect mentality for a special teams player. He doesn't care who hits him, how hard he gets hit, where he gets hit. He just heads downfield with a full head of steam, and he is as good a special teams player as I've seen in a long time at this level.
Good return here. Rogowski and Shane both had a shot at him deep into their own territory, but couldn't make the stop.
36-yard punt, 14 yards on the return, and Wabash has the football. Little Giants down 21-7, 11:39 to go here in the third quarter of the Monon Bell game. A keep out across the 20, a couple of yards on the pickup this time. Jake Knott with the football. He'll get officially 1 yard on the play. We're talking about Lonnie Heck, youngster out of LaFontaine, Indiana, Southwood High School, 5'11", 185, a freshman. The crowd goes nuts, Joe, when they see him on the field. They really get picked up with this young man.
They do, and unfortunately, we haven't seen him have much of an opportunity to show his stuff on punt coverage. And that is something to watch. It's hard to get excited about special teams play, but when he's on the field, he certainly makes an impact.
Second down, 9. Wabash in the white uniforms. The visitors here for the old Monon Bell today. Clanging away in the background. Jake will hang on to the football again if he run out of bounds on the near side. He might have gotten a yard on that play. Apparently that defensive secondary of DePauw, Ryan, has done a pretty good job of covering up the receivers, because that's twice now that Jake's had to carry the football and scramble with it.
Definitely, and keep in mind they're playing without senior Patrick Winnery, who was shaken up early when Brian Short had a long gain for the Little Giants. A good job here, as you said, stringing Knott out and just forcing him out of bounds to the sidelines.
Third down and 7. That is Jake Knott, takes the snap from center, looking for a receiver, and once again they are covered and covered well. There's a flag being thrown, I believe, on the play, but finally gets the pass away, and it is complete out across the 40, and that's good enough for the first down. I saw something fly through the air. I'm not sure it was a flag now that I go back to it. 19 yards on the pickup. And apparently it was not. It was a piece of equipment from the near sideline over here.
And Jerry, with that catch, J.D. Flynn now has 1,010 yards receiving on the season. Second best single season yardage in Wabash history. Only the second receiver ever to receive for over 1,000 yards in a season. The only other man to do it, Mike Funk, class of 1989, who went into the Wabash Hall of Fame last night.
Well, then we'll be able to take J.D. tomorrow then, I guess, huh? 3-year letterman against Mount St. Joseph at 14 receptions, one short of Mike Funk's single-game record. 162 yards receiving, 6th best single-game effort in the school history. So He has had a terrific year. Another pass completed this time to J.D. Flynn on the other side of the field, out across midfield, and right near the first down marker.
J.D. Flynn came to Wabash as a freshman who had a good reputation as an outstanding receiver. He was an all-state wide receiver at Crawfordsville High School. It's tough sometimes to get local kids to stay at home to go to college. J.D. did, and the Little Giants are certainly glad he made that decision, and he is having a huge day today. We've talked about the freshmen in this game, but we can't lose sight of the fact that there's a large group of seniors on this Wabash team that have never tasted victory in this game. J.D. Flynn doing all he can to make sure the seniors go out winners. 1st and 10. Wabash football. They're in DePauw territory now. The pitch back and the swing over the left side with Drew Waters in charge of the football. Run out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it down. It'll be 2nd down. 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. 5 yards on the pickup. Make it 2nd down and 5.
I don't know if we're going to have a chance to get a look at a replay here, but number 23, Sean Odell for the Tigers, was just pancaked by Waters over here on the gain on the left side. I don't even think it broke his stride, really. Hits like that. Sorry, Jerry. Hits like that are what the Monon Bell is all about.
Look at Jake Knott's numbers for the day. What a terrific ball game. 325 yards passing. He's going to try to add to it now. He will. The pass is complete. Short of the first down marker. We'll see where they finally do spot it down. It's to Ryan Short. Well, check it out. It is 89. It's Tim McHugh.
Tim McHugh, the tight end, usually used in blocking, doesn't catch many balls. Ryan Short is the big receiver, and they go to McHugh here. Just a little tight end flare into the flat for the first down. We looked at Jake Knott's numbers a minute ago, 325 yards before that play. He not only has the 5th best single game passing day in Wabash history, right now he's sitting on the 11th best passing day as well with those 325 yards.
That is Tim McHugh's first pass reception of the afternoon, by the way, the 6'1 senior out of Oak Forest, Illinois. Drew Waters. Left side, couple of yards for Drew Waters.
Joe, you talked
Nashville, Indiana.
Sorry, Jerry. Joe, you talked about Knott's stats, and the Tigers really have had a tough time getting any type of pressure on Knott. When they have gotten back there, he's been elusive enough to step up and make the play under pressure, and the run is keeping them, as you said earlier, just honest enough to where they can't seem to bring him down in the backfield.
And that offensive line continues to play very well. They've been good all year, and they've been very good today.
Clock is running. It approaches 9 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. 21-7 football game. It is DePauw as they have the lead, looking for their 4th consecutive Monon bell and a whistle. And we'll have a penalty marker down to stop the play. Whistle dead, and obviously a call. Well, I shouldn't say this. Obviously, apparently, we'll put it this way, against the Wabash. It is a procedure call against the Little Giants. And they'll march them back 5 more. That's the last thing they need right now, Joe, is something to stop the momentum, because they kind of got things going their way right now.
Well, and one of the difficulties for Wabash we did not touch on at halftime and throughout the first half, they have been flagged for quite a few penalties today, and that's hurt them. 5 penalties for 38 yards, and they've come in at key times. And here, 2nd down and 5 or 6, and now they're looking at 2nd down and 12.
So we'll see how they handle this situation. And again, as they have throughout much of the afternoon, Jake Knott pretty much by himself in the backfield. Spreads the receivers out. Nice pass reception this time by J.D. Flynn again. And Flynn will get it down just outside the 25-yard line. A 14-yard pickup. And again, J.D. Flynn having a sensational afternoon.
You got to look at the pass there from Knott as well. It wasn't really a pump fake, but he kind of, as you see here, shook his shoulders and really freed up the receiver, it looked like.
Flynn had 133 yards in the first half. We're going to have to check and see how many he has in the second half, because he's heading toward that 200-yard mark.
Not a well-thrown ball at all by Knott, and you see Flynn's senior experience in traffic, a ball that's a little tough to get a read on. He stayed with it and made the grab.
177 is the official total now. 44 yards for him in the second half receiving, with still 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Pass out on the left side and completed down to around the 20-yard line. A dangerous pass. It didn't appear to have a lot of zip on it, but the receiver was there and the defender could not get there. Pick up a 5 yards on the play, and again they go to J.D. Flynn. That ball is just not, there's not a very tight spiral on that pass right now from Jake Knott.
No, it's not, but Flynn doing a good job staying with the wobbly pass, and J.D. Flynn closing in on another record, the best single game receiving day in terms of yards for a Wabash receiver. Kirk Casper this year against Wilmington with 184 yards. Flynn will probably eclipse that today.
Now Jake Knott gets up under center this time, hands off to the deep back, and there's absolutely nowhere to go this time for Drew Waters. Right, a few times that Jake's been up under center. It's a loss to 3 this time.
At number 77, Frisky Williams is the first guy across from the defensive line. Coach Nick talked him up a great deal this week. He said if his size was just a little bigger, we'd probably see him at Florida State or Florida. We would have no chance at a kid like this. He talks about his work ethic, and you can see right here, he's flying across the line.
Anybody named Frisky Williams is going to be okay, man.
He lives up to his name. He's
He
pretty
does
frisky.
do that. He's a health and physical performance major. Plans to attend graduate school. Last year he was all SCAC second team on defense. 3rd down and 9. 2 for 7 for Wabash in the 3rd down compartment. And they've got the pass completed. Is it enough for the first down? Yes, it is. Terrific catch that time by number 1, Kurt Casper. And a nice job by Jake Knott of rolling away from the defenders.
Kirk Casper came into the game as the team's leading receiver. In fact, we highlighted him in our pregame show. He had 67 catches coming in. He's drawn a lot of attention. Hasn't had as big a day today as he's had in previous weeks, but credit him for staying in the game and keeping focused and being ready when the ball comes to him. Again, not doing a good job of eluding the rush, and Casper doing a great job of laying out his body to come up with the pass just wide of it.
13 yards on the pickup. DePauw will take a timeout. Wabash has been inside the red zone, the 20-yard line, one time, and had a pass intercepted in there, so we'll see what happens this time around. A timeout by DePauw, as they apparently, Ryan, saw something they didn't like offensively or defensively, as the case may be. And with 6:38 to go in the quarter, 21-7, they can ill afford to give Wabash a free trip into the end zone. Pretty good timeout call.
I think it's a pretty good timeout right here, as the Tiger defense was really reeling. I mean, the tandem of Knott and Flynn were just picking them apart. That last play, it looked like a couple of linebackers got crossed up on the coverage on Casper. And I think Coach Nick probably said, let's take a timeout. Let's get things straight. This is a very important drive for us.
Let's go down to the sideline here. Ryan, let's check out what Davey Neal's got lined up for us.
Thanks, Jerry. I'm here with Tom Bambry, Wabash class of 1968, also the Wabash College Dean of Students. Dean Bambry, with all the press that Wabash and DePauw have received lately about the behavior of the fans, what have student leaders and administration on campus done to try and rectify that situation?
Davey, our student leaders have been terrific. We've worked with our students. They've stood up and done a really nice job of saying to their fellow students that they are down here to cheer for the team and really do the right thing. And we think that that's happening in the stands today. This is a great rivalry. We want to see it preserved. So far today, things are going very well.
All right, thank you very much, Dean Bambry. Enjoy the game. Back to you guys.
All right, Davey, here we go now. The 1st down and 10 situation. 0 for 1 in the red zone, as I mentioned, for Wabash. Still with the football, throwing out in the flat and dropped out there. Pass intended for Drew Waters coming out of the backfield. And it'll be a 2nd and 10 situation with 6.5 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. I would think, Joe, from a Wabash standpoint, it's imperative they punch it into the end zone. I'm not sure they could really settle for the field goal at this particular point in time.
I agree, Jerry, for a couple of reasons. One, you need the touchdown here, obviously. Field goal kicking game's been a little shaky for Wabash this year. I think the odds are in Wabash's favor if they do face a 4th down inside the red zone to go ahead and take a crack at the end zone.
They put Brent Graber in at one of the wideout spots deep to the bottom of your screen. Back to throw again is Knott. Knott's got the pass over the middle. A couple of defenders there, and they knock it away.
Jake got a little greedy there. I think he's become a bit comfortable with J.D. Flynn making big catches. Probably forced one into double coverage. He should have looked somewhere else to throw or thrown it away. You see here again out of the spread formation, gives him an easier time reading the blitz, picking up the defense, does a good job to step up in the pocket. Another wobbly pass, but even a perfect spiral would have been tough to complete through that double coverage.
The guys in the area, the double coverage, Jason Geringer and Josh Johnson for the DePauw Tigers. We're into a 3rd down situation. Back to throw again is Knott. Knott's getting pressure. Knott will break free. Gets away from one of the rushers and finally is hit and brought down. Terrific defensive effort by Frisky Williams. We just talked about him, Ryan, and what a job he did.
He did all he could to get away from Frisky, but it just wasn't happening on that play. And I think I credit the Tiger coaching staff there for taking a timeout, gathering the defense, and we've seen much better play here over the last 3 plays for the D.
Here it is again. Watch this young man from Tampa, Florida, a 5'9 junior, a 215-pounder. He had 1 interception and 3 sacks coming into the game this afternoon. He just will not give up.
Williams gave Wabash fits last year. They've done a pretty good job keeping him in check today, but here he comes up with a huge sack.
And Joe, as you suggested, they're going to go for this on 4th down and 16 yards. They spread the field, receivers everywhere. Not trying to find somebody to throw to. Will keep it himself. He'll get down to the 10, inside the 10, about the 8 or 9 yard line, and that will not be enough for the first down. So Wabash comes up empty. A great job by the DePauw defense. Well, they stopped them when they had to, and Ryan, that's got to be a lip for DePauw and maybe a downer for the folks at Wabash.
Definitely, we see the replay here. You have to credit great coverage by the Tiger defenders, as I'm sure not deciding to run. That was his last option, as he was a good deal away from the end zone, did all he could to get as close as possible. But the Tiger coverage there just gave him no other options.
5.5 minutes to go in the third. 21-7 football game. Playing for the Monon Bell on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in Greencastle. It is a 21-7 lead for DePauw. They have the football. They'll give to the tailback over the left side. Strikes out across the 10. Got up to about the 11 or 12 yard line. They'll unpile him and mark it down. Big number 73, Chris Eskew, coming off the bottom of that stack.
After that big defensive stop by the Tigers, look for a good dose of Thiessen Tohill, as the Tigers will look to run the ball, if at all possible, as much as they can.
Yeah, there's no reason to put the ball in the air from that standpoint, because the clock becomes their ally right now, even though we're only in the third quarter, but there are less than 5 minutes to go. As you see, 2nd and 7. Pitch back again to the deep back, and again up the middle, a couple of more yards this time. Entire middle of that Wabash defensive unit. And to make the stop. And Scott Thies with the ball, 4-yard pickup, and we'll get an official's timeout. One of the Wabash players is down on the field. Guys, if you got a question or a comment or a howdy, we'd love to hear from you. There's our fax number right there. We got nothing else to do. We'll just answer faxes this afternoon.
I guess we'll take suggestions, right?
Trying to keep track of all the things that are going on here, yonder, and wherever. Haven't had a chance to pick up the number yet of that Wabash player that's just getting off the deck.
It's Joe Trebley, number 99, defensive end for the Little Giants. Joe's had a good year. Came into the game with 25 tackles, couple of sacks. He's a 6'3", 218-pound junior, and he's being helped off the field.
He's out of Glenwood, Indiana.
And it looks like he injured his arm or his shoulder. You can see him at the top of the screen. Looks like he was hit on the forearm or the top of the hand. We do not want to speculate from up here without official confirmation. Clearly looks like some kind of arm injury, and we'll try to get an update.
Adam Van Meter was listed as his backup at that position. DePauw now with a 3rd down and 4. They are 4 for 10 in 3rd down possessions. They faked the delay, rolling out his hair. Hair's got a little bit of room, and a good defensive open field tackle that time by the Wabash Little Giants, number 41. Took the charts on him. That was a great
outside
play.
Linebacker Nathan Boulay, once again, the freshman from Ben Davis. He comes up with his 6th sack of the season. They mentioned the Wabash offensive line had not yielded many sacks. DePauw had only given up 3 coming into this game. And here Nathan Boulay with a great play to stay with it. And again, look at the technique. He squares up on the quarterback, goes low, and makes sure he keeps him in his grasp.
So DePauw forced into a punting situation again. And Wabash should get some pretty decent field position. A low line drive, wobbly kick, taken at the 47-yard line and hit immediately. Well, that DePauw defense getting up there in a hurry.
Credit Mark Wilhelm and Joe Rogowski as the tandem on the stop there.
Joe's been everywhere today, as has Wilhelm. 38-yard punt, couple of yards on the return. And Wabash will go back on offense again. And with the clock showing 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, they desperately need to get something on the scoreboard up there.
Well, we talked throughout the first half and at halftime about the poor starting field position. Well, now the field position tide has turned a bit for these two teams. Let's see if Wabash understands that and can seize this opportunity.
Jake Knott still with the ball club under his control, sits back under center this time with a single setback. He comes out to the near side. The pass is completed down around the 40-yard line and run out of bounds right into that DePauw bench down there. Number 83, J.D. Flynn, who's been a very favorite target of Knott throughout the afternoon. He is approaching, as we pointed out earlier, new high water mark with receptions yardage. J.D. with 133 in the first half. Last check, he had 177. He adds 13 more on there, so he's rapidly getting up to the 200-yard mark.
He has 194 yards on the day now, and that is now the best single game a Wabash receiver has had in receiving yards in school history.
That's terrific. Waters with the football over the left side, following the blocks of Berger and Brown. He'll get it down to the 35-yard line.
And talk about the prolific aerial attack of the Little Giants. That's the second time that record's been broken this season. Is that right, Joe?
The reception record was broken this year.
Oh, okay.
Kirk Casper with catches, but not yardage. The yardage record held by Hall of Famer Mike Funk set that back in 1989. On the all-time career list, Flynn moving up the ladder again. He now has 2,035 career receiving yards. That's good enough for fourth best in school history.
2nd and 6 with the clock down to 2:44 to play in the third quarter. Team in black is DePauw. They lead 21-7. Wabash football. Back to throw is Knott. Knott again with nobody to throw the football to. He keeps wandering and running around. Finally puts the ball in the air and just kind of threw it away. The defensive secondary of DePauw came out in the second half as though they were a team on a mission, Ryan, because they are not giving Knott any receivers to throw the ball to.
Definitely, although I'm sure, as we heard from Coach Nick, he told them that the score is 0-0. I'm sure the defense was told a little bit of a different thing, that if they can hold their ground, this ball game could be over. And they've been playing, especially after the timeout. We saw Wabash come out and move down the field quite rapidly. I think the timeout really got the priorities straight, and they've played much, much better since then.
You also saw a couple of defenders coming up on Knott. That takes away the running lanes in case he wants to escape and do a little freelancing out there. He has nowhere to go. Knott again. It is 3rd down and 6. And again, he's looking, and again, there is simply nobody to throw the football to, and they got him again. Terrific defensive effort that time, turned in by Rob Dinwoody. Dinwoody, that senior out of Glenview, Illinois. No gain on the play. And once again, you got to credit the secondary for totally taking away the receivers.
You do, but Jake's not getting a lot of help from his receivers on these broken plays. Receivers need to be aware when the play breaks down, and somebody's got to break off a route and come back to help, and that's part of the problem. No one's coming back to help Jake, and this DePauw defense starting to turn it up a notch.
Third punt of the afternoon now for the Wabash Little Giants. Bearcats call for it, then they let it go down to the ground. It'll drop dead about the 6-yard line. They punt by Matt Wilhelm off Wabash. Good for some 28 yards.
Kind of a strange play there as Wilhelm took all kinds of time to get that ball up, and I thought it might be a fake, but to no avail.
So once again, DePauw, and Joe pointed this out earlier, their field position's not been good at all here in the second half. Wabash has had good field position, but neither ball club's been able to do much with it once they get it.
Well, the Wabash defense has done its job. They have so far shut out this DePauw Tiger offense in the third quarter, a Tiger offense to put 21 on the board in the first half. Unfortunately, the offense has not been able to do anything with what it's been given from the defense.
The DePauw Tigers looking for their 4th consecutive win after losing 4 of their first 5. Actually, 5 of their first 6. One of those was in double overtime. A loser at Chicago, 9-6 earlier this year. They'll keep it on the ground, pick up 1 yard, make it 2nd down and 9. The clock down to 1.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Shot at the sideline. Some of the conversation going on down there amongst the defensive unit of DePauw.
That's DePauw defensive coordinator Tim Reha talking to the troops.
They'll bring it back to the line of scrimmage, and as Ryan pointed out a couple of moments ago, DePauw likely just to keep this ball on the ground and keep that clock running in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Back to pass again is Hare. Hare over the middle, incomplete pass. They were looking at Tyler Kelly again. Kelly fell down. The pass was not there anyway. That'll stop the clock, something that they probably don't want done with 55 seconds to go in the third quarter. Final game of the year for both of these clubs. It's a tradition, and it is one of those traditions that the Loves look forward to all across the nation. And I don't know how many folks stop me down here, guys, and I know you know much more than I do, many more of them. And they really get into this baby. This is not just another football game, boys. They come dressed in their colors. You know, you love to see this guy worth $1 gazillion. He's got his sweatshirt on, man. He is out here having fun. Now the clock winds again, 55 seconds to go. Back to throw, incomplete, throwing partially behind the intended receiver. And that will stop the clock with 50 seconds to play.
Kurt Hare's really having trouble of late trying to find receivers down the field. His numbers on the day, 13 for 27 for 168 yards, most of that coming in the first quarter.
So Kurt Ware will drop back again to put this football in the air. This is his 4th punt of the afternoon. We mentioned he's averaging 39.3 over the season with a long of 45. He's had none blocked this year. He's averaging right around 36-37 this afternoon. Gets the kick away. This time a nice high spiraling kick. Bearcats called for by the Wabash Little Giants. And again, Joe, here we go again. They got great field position. Let's swing down to the field now. And Lindsay Clutter. Lindsay?
Thank you, Jerry. Right now I'm standing with Cindy Babington, the Dean of Students here at DePauw. Cindy, with all the wonderful characteristics that goes along with an intense rivalry such as this one, traditions and so forth, what is DePauw doing to promote sportsmanship this year?
Well, this year we really did a lot in terms of a media campaign and in recruiting students to help us be advocates for good sportsmanship. We spent a lot of time making posters, I don't know if you've seen them, that talk about the NCAA rules which prohibit any kind of statements of sexism or racism, and we really have done a lot. Profanity, we were going to turn away students who wore t-shirts that had profanity on them, and as far as I know, I think we got enough of the word out that we didn't really have to do that, which was great.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us, Cindy, and back to you, Jerry.
All right, thank you very much. To bring you up to speed, 43 yards on the punt that time. And it's Wabash football now with 2nd down and 4 yards to go. And once again, they're in DePauw territory on about the 46-yard line. But it's been a frustrating second half for Wabash. Though they've moved the ball well, they have not been able to strike it into the end zone. They got inside the red zone and could do nothing with it. They try the left side, get back to the line of scrimmage, and that is about all they'll find. Maybe a yard on the play, not much more than that. Desmond Hannum is the ball carrier. And that will take care of the 3rd quarter here in Greencastle. After 3 quarters, it is 21-7 in favor of the DePauw Tigers over the Wabash College Little Giants. Let's once again take a look at these two outstanding schools.
What makes Wabash so special is that you can get involved in anything, that you're given the responsibility, that people put trust in you, and you're expected to perform. And if you mess up, you mess up, and you got to pick up the pieces and get back together and learn from your mistakes and try and make it a little better next time. It's not easy. If you want to learn how to think, learn how to write and speak, come to Wabash. You'll be something when you leave here, no questions about it.
The broadcast of the Monon Bell Classic is underwritten with support from the following. Mikhail Cook and Welch, whose 5 DePauw graduates and 5 Wabash graduates are proud to present this telecast of the Monon Bell Classic. Mikhail Cook and Welch, committed to providing innovative legal services since 1933. Service-oriented, results-driven, Mikhail Cook and Welch. Brewer Furniture, located in Ladoga, Waynetown, and Avon, and the Brewer family salute the players of the Monon Bell. Brewer Furniture features Serta, Lazy Boy, Hooker, and Keller products and is committed to offering fine home furnishings and reliable service in a home-like setting. Family owned and operated since 1978.
Along with Joe Emmick and Ryan Burke in the booth and Lindsay Clutter and Davey Neal down on the sidelines, this is Jerry Baker. 4th quarter underway now for the Monon Bell. And an important possession for the Wabash Little Giants. They've had the ball in a number of good positions here in this second half. Neither club's been able to score. DePauw has not shown much on their offense, but they've been able to shut down the Wabash offensive efforts. Back to throw is not, and he is caught and then dropped. They were throwing that time to J.D. Flynn again, and he almost had it, and that would have put him down around the 20-yard line.
Credit number 26 there, Josh Johnson, from coming across the field and breaking it up. I think Flynn would have probably caught the ball if he wouldn't have had a guy coming from another direction. think it really crossed him up on this play, as we'll see right here.
Not with plenty of time again. Timing just a little off on the crossing pattern between Flynn and Knott, and the pass falls incomplete. Wabash fails again to capitalize on good starting field position.
And they'll have to punt it away again, Joe, and the kick is a high end-over-end kick, not particularly long, takes a Wabash bounce, goes inside the 15, and will be knocked dead around the 13-yard line. But once again, Joe, as you point out, Wabash gets decent field position. They can't move the football, and it's become a defensive football game as far as DePauw is concerned right now.
Certainly has, and in the first half, as we said, we talked about the starting field position. DePauw's average starting field position was its own 41. Wabash's was its own 20. That has changed here in the second half, and now Wabash simply is just not making any plays on offense.
Interesting stat on time of possession through 3 quarters. Wabash 22-31, DePauw 22-29.
That's amazing. 32 yards on the punt, by the way. No return. DePauw with the football. Here's the pitch back deep to Scott Thies. Thies will go around the left side. He'll get maybe 4 or 5 yards on the play. Jake Knott, by the way, for Wabash is now 23 of 35. And Kurt Hare, his cohort on the other side of the line, 13 of 27. We got a flag down on the play. Now the holding call against Wabash, against DePauw.
Captain, holding's 10 yards back. We won't get it all, but we'll get a good part of it. First and 5. First and about 17. Second. Okay.
So they'll take the penalty. Here's the replay again.
Trying to spot here where the foul occurred.
Looks
Probably
like
on
Joe Shane out on the point of attack, trying to stock block to spring the runner. And that was the only place I saw in the replay where it looked like that could have happened.
And now the Tigers dangerously deep into their own territory.
Well, if Wabash is going to make a play, turnover here, if not a turnover for a score by the defense, is in order here. Many times in Wabash history when the offense has struggled, it has been the defense that's come up with the big play to generate points. They need something here. They have to take advantage of the situation.
That is only the second penalty of the game against DePauw, 5 against Wabash this afternoon. Hare brings them back to the line of scrimmage. They will put that man in motion again. You see the defensive secondary shifting in that direction. Kurt Hare hangs on, comes back out to the near side to Scott Thies. Thies with some running room out across the 15 and maybe got to the 16-yard line. That will not be enough for the first down. It's an 8-yard pickup on the play. And they'll mark it down with 14 minutes to play in this football game. First, make it second down with about 9 to go. Here's a look at it again.
Here we see play action. Hare going back across the field to Thies, and we see how hard that he runs. Gets some good gain on the play and gets them, more importantly, out of the shadow of their own end zone.
Now a big second down play, but I guess every play is big from this particular point on out. Here we get a look at Kurt Hare out of Tipton. Got back in the end zone, drew the defensive secondary to the other side of the field and came out to the near side. It'll be second down. Call it 12. Can't be right. Must be more like 8 or 9. And the pass is incomplete. Good defensive stop that time by Matt Clark out of that cornerbacking spot.
They tried to hit Shane on a quick slant. He had single coverage, but Clark, as we mentioned earlier, one of the more aggressive members of this Wabash secondary, made a fine play there to bring up third down and long.
Now, Joe, we've talked about the lack of offense for Wabash. Now this is a really important third down play for the Wabash defensive unit.
Certainly is, and they've done the job in the second half. They have played very well. They've come up with the stops when they've needed it. They have not allowed DePauw to score here in the second half. Defense has come out of the locker room, done a great job here in the second half.
Third down and long now for the DePauw Tigers. Up under center is Kurt Hare. Hare comes back out to the near side. The pass is completed. It'll be way short of the first down, though. And a fourth down situation set up now for DePauw. And once again, Wabash ought to get some decent field position after that 5-yard pass reception.
Chet Casper, who missed some time in the first half because of an injury, makes a fine play, assisted by freshman linebacker Nathan Boulay. We've said his name 100 times today. He has played so well. But Casper doing a good job squaring up on the receiver again, and look at the good tackling for him. This Wabash defense, fundamentally sound, as we mentioned, well coached by Wabash alumni Joe Bevelheimer and Nick Cronk.
Rondell Ferguson getting his first pass reception of the afternoon. They pressed a new name in there on us this time around. Here's the punt situation and a flag. Now let's see. If that's against Wabash, that'd be a first down for DePauw. But the Wabash players are applauding it will be against DePauw. Push them back 5 more.
It was very interesting on that third down play. As we talked about, the Tigers used to playing in front of about 400 fans.
Offense.
The Tiger offense was actually waving the fans down over here on the auxiliary bleachers to be quiet, and I'm sure they've never had to deal with that.
Never.
At the Division III level.
It is interesting because when I came to watch DePauw play earlier this year, it was one of those cold, frosty days, and there was a limited crowd here. And I was told, well, they'll bring all these extra seats in, and I was trying to envision that, and it fits beautifully here. It's too bad you can't have this kind of crowd of every doggone game you got, Ryan. All right, 4th down situation again. Standing back at about the 2 or 3 yard line. The kick is away. Kurt Ware knocks it out to about the 42 or 3. Wabash gets out of the way. It'll roll dead just about the 45-yard line. And Joe, not to beat this dead horse, but once again, terrific field position.
3rd drive in a row in which Wabash will start with the ball at or near midfield. They have to get something out of this. We sound like a broken record, but that's the theme of the second half right now. And there's still plenty of time left, so a touchdown here, making it 21-14, certainly keeps Wabash in the game, and they have an opportunity to come back and win the game.
38 yards on the punt that time for DePauw. And once again, Wabash will get it. They'll set up just over the 45-yard line with good field position one more time. Let's see what Jake Knott does with his ball club. He will pitch it back with the football is J.D. Flynn. Flynn, he is going to throw it upfield, and it is incomplete, but there's a marker down on the play. Obviously some defensive pass interference.
Greg Carlson has a trick play in the book every week, and that was the trick play for this week. They ran it in practice last night in their final walkthrough before the game. A reverse pass with J.D. Flynn throwing deep downfield. It developed a bit more slowly than it should develop, but he made a nice pass. And even though they do not get a long completion, they do draw the interference penalty, and it will go for a big gain because of the flag. And look at the big block there to clear the way for Flynn. He throws the ball into traffic. Casper does a good job to bat it away from the other 2 defenders, draws the interference penalty. And as I said, the play didn't work as they had hoped, but it's still, and that's a first down by penalty.
And unless my numbers are wrong here, Joe, that's the first pass attempted all year by J.D. Flynn. Knott has been obviously the key. Steed has thrown a couple, Wilhelm and Crouch, but not J.D. Flynn.
That's correct. It's a trick play that they put in the books this week for this game. As I mentioned, Greg Carlson likes to have 1 or 2 gadget plays in the offense each week. Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. And I think that's the kind of thing Wabash needs to do to generate some excitement and uncork a big play.
So it's a 15-yard penalty. It is a first down. It's just inside the 40-yard line. And Wabash once again with the football, but unable to do much with it offensively. They go to the air again. They go up the sideline. The pass is overthrown. The intended receiver down around the 10 or 11-yard line. And once again, the clock will stop. Ryan Short was the intended receiver, the freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana. One of the H-backs on this ball club. We'll look at it again. I don't think that he had much of a shot at getting this football.
Well, Sean Odell with terrific man-to-man pass coverage here, keeping in front of Ryan Short, and Jake Knott did a good job of throwing the ball in such a manner that if Short couldn't catch it, no one else could.
And that's 5'10" Odell going up against 6'5" Short.
Short out of Perry Meridian High School, one of the Falcons. 12:01 to go now. 4th quarter, 21-7. All the scoring in the first half of this football game. Not back and looking. And the pass is incomplete, right about the first down marker of around the 30-yard line.
Well, a failure to score has not been a problem for Wabash this year. They did have trouble in the opener against Ohio Northern. They lost 38-6. Ohio Northern will be going to the Division III playoffs. Their only loss this year has been to Mount Union. There you see Jake Knott, 374 yards on the day. Just a terrific day for Jake. The only thing he hasn't done is get his team into the end zone.
Wabash is averaging 24.4 points per game as compared to 20.8 for the opposition, but this afternoon only 7 on the board. Back to throw again. This time the pass is completed to the near side. It'll be well shy of the first down marker, unfortunately, for the Wabash fans. Only a 4-yard pickup, and the pass complete to Ryan Short. And the clock now is winding down with 11:35 to go in this game.
This is a 4th down situation, but again, I don't think there is any question about what to do here. Wabash has to go for it. It's out of their normal field goal range. They need a touchdown anyway. Unfortunately, Wabash just 1 for 3 on 4th down conversions today.
I would think Wabash is in 4-down position the rest of this football game. You can hear the crowd on the near side getting wound up defensively for the DePauw defensive unit. Not to throw. Nope, no place to go. We got a penalty marker down. Not had nowhere to go. And the penalty marker is back in the secondary where generally holding comes into play. But we will wait and we will see.
Defensive holding. Sure is.
You hear the officials open mic on the field saying defensive holding, and that's what it is. And a break for the Little Giants on that play. Maybe we're starting to see the breaks turn the Little Giants' way here on this drive.
And again, as we pointed out earlier, that's only, I think, Ryan, the 3rd penalty against DePauw in this football game, but they have come at critical times here in the second half.
Definitely a big break there for the Little Giants as the Tigers had jailbreak on their defensive line, all kinds of pressure on Knott, and a big call sustains this drive for the Little Giants.
So they'll move the chains, and once again, Wabash with some hope. They have been down 21-7 since the halftime marker. They have shown they have some explosiveness. They don't really need the explosiveness as far as distance is concerned, but they need to chop up some yardage and increments that'll get them down into 1st down territory and give them a shot at the end zone. They trail 21-7. The clock shows exactly 11 minutes to play here in the 4th. Once again, Knott runs out of that shotgun formation with no protection in the backfield. He gets good time. This time he's got a receiver wide open to the end zone, and he overthrew him. He had Brent Graber, the junior out of Kokomo, Indiana. He had beaten his defensive man, but the ball was about 3 or 4 feet too long. He couldn't hang on to it.
I'm anxious to see this replay. You could almost tell by the body characteristics here of Knott. He's so excited that he had a few steps with his receiver. Just overthrows him a little bit.
One of the few mistakes Knott has made today, just out of Graber's reach. And a perfect opportunity for Wabash to score goes by the wayside. Again, it'll be 2nd and long for Wabash. But again, Knott playing in his first Monon Bell game has done just about everything else correctly.
They will send Casper to the right. Short will slot out there. Over on the left side, again, a slot right out there with Brent Graber, the deep man. Way down at the bottom of your screen. Back to throw again is Knott. Knott's getting some decent time to throw. He could run for this one. He will run. He'll get it across the 20, down inside the 15, and probably enough for the 1st down. Pretty smart decision on that Lafayette, Indiana youngster Jake Knott's part that time. It's an 11-yard pickup.
Another sign of Jake Knott's maturity and how he's grown over the course of the season. He seems much more confident in making these decisions to tuck the ball and run. Running ability is what made Chris Ings such a great quarterback when he played for Wabash. Now Knott, certainly not the runner that Ings was, but he can run well enough to keep the defense honest. He makes a great decision and a great play here.
It was interesting that time to watch 99 Olsen Jaquette on the defensive side of the line for DePauw. The front 4 for Wabash had completely shut him down, and he was just a participant as far as just viewing that particular play. They shut him out beautifully. Man in motion again. This time the fake give. Knott will roll out and throw the ball, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by DePauw.
The 2nd time this afternoon the team's been in the red zone, and Knott has thrown an interception.
Joe Rogowski is the guy that got it, and that would be his 3rd interception on the season.
And another senior making a huge play. I mean, we've talked about freshmen, but all the big plays in this contest, and we see right here on the interception, a great job by Rogowski. Good closing speed and able to step in front of the Little Giant receiver.
That is a big man's play there. Joe Rogowski out of Park Ridge, Illinois High School, Fenwick High School in Park Ridge, Illinois. A big play defensively. And now, once again, not good field position for DePauw, but they still have the lead at 21-7. They keep the ball on the ground, running across the right side, smack down about the 15-yard line. Clock showing 10.5 minutes to go now, 4th quarter. 21-10 in favor of DePauw as they battle for the Monon Bell. 3 yards on the pickup that time. Good look at Desson Hannum, at 5'9", 182-pound sophomore out of Duggar, Indiana, which is in the southern part of Indiana.
John Haug makes a good stop here at the point of attack on the running play. Wabash defense has done its job in the second half. The coaches have to be very pleased with what this unit has done after the intermission.
There's a ball knocked across the line of scrimmage, knocked down, maybe a couple of more yards on the play. A couple of yards on the pickup. And again, there is no rush as far as DePauw is concerned. Ryan, the one thing they got going for them now, they can take all the time in the huddle they want. They can keep the ball on the ground. They're in fine shape as far as they're concerned.
Definitely, we'll be seeing them throw only out of necessity here.
Kurt Hare. He's had a nice afternoon offensively for this DePauw ball club. Here back to throw. They sign it in from the left side. They get enough room for the first down across the 25, just shy of the 30-yard line. And boy, we have called Dan Ryan's name a lot this afternoon. He's listed on the depth chart behind Joe Shane at the wide receiver, the freshman from Cincinnati, but he's seen a lot of playing time and played well.
We'll see here on the replay, Ryan with the big catch. He's been put into this offense more and more as the season has progressed. I thought we had a huge player at the D3 level, 6'4", 200 pounds, till I come to this game and see that Wabash starts a 6'5", 210-pound wide receiver. I guess players just getting bigger and bigger.
They indeed are. That's a pickup for the first down. First down and 10 yards to go. Here's the pitch back, deep. These across the 30, out to the 32. We got a marker down on the play. Early indications are it's holding.
It's going to be on Sean Saranowski. He reached out and grabbed Joe Trebley, lost him on his block, and reached out and grabbed his arm and jersey.
It was Saranowski. We can hear one of the officials yelling 64, and that's Sean's number. Here's a look at it again. We'll see if we can find it here somewhere. Yep, not in that picture.
You could just catch it as this replay started to the left of the screen as Trebley came free. He actually came free from Saranowski holding on to his arm. We'll get a better look at it here.
Saranowski is the right tackle on this.
See it right there in the middle of your screen. Just a brief grab, but enough to draw the flag.
Yep, not much there, but he got him. Got Joe Trebley. 8 minutes, 44 seconds of playing time in this football game. Well, the bad thing about losing a game like this is you got to live with it all year long. And the good thing about winning, you get to live with it all year long.
Exactly right.
At these schools being less than 30 miles apart, it's not easy to forget about it. Wide open over the middle, Tyler Kelly. Now, that's the first time that we've seen Tyler Kelly, Ryan, and maybe the second half. I'm not sure they've thrown to him after throwing to him a number of times in the first half of the game.
Kind of like a heavyweight boxing match. The Tiger offense has been stick and move. They go to a guy a little bit. We saw Joe Shane used a lot in their early going, and then they go to someone else. So it seems like they've been just keeping the Little Giants one step behind on what they believe is coming.
It's an 11-yard pickup. Joe Shane, you mentioned his name. He's just coming back onto the field right now. And we'll take Scott Thies out at the running back spot. And again, I mentioned earlier in the telecast, both coaches have run a number of players out on the field today. Wideouts both ways. Kurt's going to keep one guy back to help him with pass protection. In fact, he will give the ball to the fullback back there with him. He'll work it out across the 30, well, near the 30-yard line. Coming off the bottom of that pile. It's a 4-yard pickup that time for DePauw, and it is Ryan Tohill.
If DePauw holds on to win, this would be their 4th straight victory in the Bell game. And unlike a lot of big rivalries, this has been a rivalry of streaks, as you see the replay here on the running play. Before this 3-year streak for DePauw started, Wabash had won 5 in a row, including a tie which enabled them to keep the Bell. Before that, DePauw had won another 4 in a row. It's very interesting that this game seems to rotate with recruiting classes for these schools.
And we'll get a timeout.
Timeout on the field starts the Tigers.
It'll be DePauw timeout. As I recall, that's their second of this half. Yes, they have one left now. All right, let's take a look here. The Monon Bell Classic storyline today. And both Joe and Ryan have touched on the fact the seniors for Wabash have never won the Bell, and that's just what you guys were referring to there. Freshman-dominated game, yeah, but it is a freshman-dominated game, Ryan, but at the same time, we've called the seniors' names an awful lot today when the big plays came up.
There should be an asterisk there on that third key to the game right there, because the freshmen have done a lot in moving the chains, but all of the big plays seem to have been from seniors. The scoring plays, the interceptions, stops on 4th downs by linebackers. It's been a big day for the seniors, the Tiger seniors, trying to get the 4th Bell in their 4 years in Greencastle.
This Wabash Ball Club last year, we were talking about this earlier, Joe and I, 9-1, 7-0 on the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference champions. And that one loss was that dominating victory by DePauw last year, and I'm sure they came here to Greencastle today with that somewhere in the back of their minds. Even the freshmen had to be aware of that scenario. DePauw football, there's your score, there's the time. DePauw on third down this afternoon, 5 of 14, and it's third down now with about 9 to go. Over the middle, pass is caught right at the 45-yard line. Good effort that time by Joe Shane coming out of the backfield. And he was there with Tyler Kelly. Shane was there, but Kelly caught the football. So they go to Tyler Kelly on a couple of plays. He picks up 17 yards. Look at it again as Harris back to throw to Kelly.
Here we see Kelly checks in at about 6'3", but he goes another 4 or 5 inches into the air to take that one out. Good throw by Hare over the middle into coverage.
Tyler Kelly very quiet in the first first portion of the game. Then they used him in the second quarter a great deal. Did not throw much to him in the third quarter. But Tyler Kelly, a political science major, has 6 receptions for 69 yards. He's having a nice day. Not to near the 50-yard line, 4 yards on the carry. Kelly, by the way, is a fifth-year senior. He transferred in from Butler after his freshman year, where he was named to the dean's list. In fact, in putting together some biographical stuff, guys, I noticed there's an awful lot of very smart young men on this football field, but I guess if you're going to go to Wabash or DePauw, you better have some brains up there, huh?
I think a lot of people here in the stands and watching us around the country are drawn to this game because of that. There was an article in the Indianapolis Star yesterday that criticized Division III football, criticized the academic nature of these two schools. Obviously, that writer's never been to this game. That's a real highlight of this game.
Well, I think it's what they came to school for to begin with, and you've had some exceptions where people have come in here and gone on to have professional careers. But at the same time, that's not what they are coming here for. There are no scholarships involved for the young men. You got to pay your own way. A couple of yards on the pickup there. Tyler Kelly's a GTE Academic All-America candidate, SCAC Academic Honor Roll selection, and obviously a very smart young man and a darn good football player. Take a look at Scott Thies again.
Here we see Thies on the carry. Will get many more carries in the Monon Bell, you would think, in the years to come. But you talk a lot about that. You know, there are guys like Bowers and Pettigrew who go on and have NFL tryouts. But for most seniors, this is their last football game.
Third down and 4. Back to throw Hare. Got the receiver, got the first down, lost the football, picked up by Wabash out of the air, and the Little Giants will get it as they get yet another break, and again, some decent field position.
Off the tip, the interception made by a freshman. We've called his name before today, Matt Mercer, and finally, after 5 opportunities to pick off a pass, the Little Giants come up with one. Time still in DePauw's favor with only 5:06, but still enough time for Wabash to get back in this ball game.
There we see the replay. Dan Ryan not being able to hold on to the ball as it's actually punched out. I can't get the number on the Little Giant. And then we see the pick by Mercer. I was just getting ready to say we can't salt this game away yet. There's still 5 minutes left, and 2 scores definitely happened.
That is the first interception by Mercer so far this year. Here's the pass completion down to the 30-yard line. And that will stop the clock as they move the chains upfield with 5 minutes to play in this football game.
J.D. Flynn not getting up after the play, but you could see him a minute ago, patted his stomach. Apparently he just had the wind knocked out of him as he makes a fine catch. Gets sandwiched here on a hard tackle. And I think he'll be all right after he catches his breath.
That, by the way, was the first DePauw turnover of the afternoon. Let's head down to the field again. Here's Davey Neal.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm here with Steve Hoffman from the Wabash class of 1985. You've represented Wabash on the field both as a player and as a coach, and now as a major gifts officer, represent Wabash across the nation. What are alumni saying about the college?
Well, the feeling's positive, and I tell you, it'd be a lot more positive if we can turn this around in the last 5 minutes today, but things are going very well, getting a lot more alumni involved. The campaign's going well. We had a class of around 300 students come in this year. The buildings on campus, come back to campus and see the athletic building, the Allen Athletic and Recreation Center going up, and the science building will be not far behind. So very, very positive out there.
Great. Thank you very much. Good luck here for the rest of this game.
Thanks. Hope we can do something with it.
Back to you, Jerry.
All right, Davey, thank you very much. Joe Rogowski, the young man, helped off the field now for DePauw. Let's take one more look at this hit.
talk about a senior making a big play. J.D. Flynn going over the middle here and paying the price. Just hangs him out to dry.
You hear the applause from below. J.D. Flynn now up on his feet, heading to the sideline under his own power. And I think he just had to take a minute to catch his breath after that play. What a day for J.D. Flynn. 10 catches for 220 yards. The 220 yards, the best single day any Wabash receivers ever had. And we've had some pretty good ones in the history of this football program. What a way for J.D. Flynn to go out. But I'll tell you what, he'd trade all 220 of those yards for a victory here in the final 5 minutes.
He was named Wabash's co-outstanding receiver, and why not? And today he's had a sensational year. Not 25 of 41, 403 yards passing. A couple of interceptions and 1 touchdown. But right now, the clock begins to wind down, and it's 4 minutes and 40 seconds to play, and Wabash must score, and they must score in a hurry.
They've had trouble in the red zone, been there 3 times, turned the ball over on downs once, and Jake Knott threw 2 interceptions on each of the other 2 drives.
Jerry, we've definitely seen stranger things in the Monon Bell. Joe and I were talking before the game, 1994. The game started off at Wabash College, back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns, 85-plus yards each.
Well, what do they say? Ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
5 yards on that pickup. 4 minutes, 10 seconds to play in the game, and now Wabash, with some confusion, will have to take a timeout. They have 3. That'll get them down to 2, and you can see that there's some confusion offensively. Let's sing down to the field again. Lindsey Clutter has been down in that sunshine all afternoon. Lindsey?
Hugh, who was an outstanding safety in the early 1960s and also founder and president of DePauw's Athletic Hall of Fame. Dr. Eskew, you played football in the early 60s. What is the biggest difference between the Monon Bell game then when you played and the Monon Bell game of today?
There's no difference. This is the most important game of our whole careers. And when this game's over, we have the rest of our lives, but we always look back to how we played this game and who won and who lost. When I played, we never lost to Wabash, and that's what this club and these seniors are trying to accomplish.
What is your impression of the game today?
Great game. Both teams very well prepared, very well coached, great fun. This is a great rivalry.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Eskew. And now back to you, Jerry.
An old high school classmate of mine, by the way, Bill Eskew. I think when he played, they had leather helmets. I'm not clear on that. Well, I'll hear about that. Super gentleman. His father, Phil, was the IHSAA commissioner for a number of years. Pass completed to Kurt Casper. 6 yards on the pickup. And with 4 minutes and 1 second to play, it'll be, it's a first down, so they'll move the chains. And Wabash will obviously, Joe, get in a hurry here and get up that line of scrimmage as fast as they can. Now they'll wind the clock. Knox standing right on the 25-yard line. Jake looking out on the near side, changes his mind, goes the other way, still trying to find a receiver, and wisely gets out of bounds after getting him out 7 or 8 yards on the play. It was interesting. He looked to the near side over here like he wanted to throw the pass, and the receiver in that area was not looking back, and he just pulled it back in and took off with it.
Made a good decision. Here you see it. Couldn't find anybody open. Dashes to the outside and makes a good decision to run with it. His last pass completion moved his passing yardage for the day to 414 yards. That is a new single-game record. The previous record held by Brett Butler, 399 yards. He did that on 2 occasions during the 1989 season.
Quarterback draw up near the 10-yard line, trying to get the first down. I don't think he did. It'll be 3rd down, and again, that will keep the clock running unless Wabash opts to go for the timeout with 3.5 minutes to go. There's Jake coming off the ground. He's had a busy afternoon today.
Well, if you had told this Wabash coaching staff that they would have a quarterback throw for 400 yards, a receiver catch 200 yards, they would have thought they would have won the game easily. But the statistic that really counts, 0 for 3 so far today in the red zone.
And they'll try the quarterback keep, and this is going to be close again. They will stop the clock to try to spot the ball. We'll see where they spot it, because the spot means everything right now. They didn't have much to go to get there, but did they get the job done is the question.
Now, this is the play Wabash typically uses in a 3rd down or 4th down and short. Good line surge from DePauw there, and this is going to be very, very close. I don't even think they're going to call for a measurement here. It looks like the referee is already signaling 4th down, and now Wabash will take a timeout. And this is going to be the play of the game. We'll know after this play whether Wabash will come back to win.
They will use their second timeout. They'll have one left, but as we pointed out earlier, Joe and Ryan, in almost every instance in the fourth quarter, Wabash was in four-down territory. They just simply cannot afford to get the ball back. Let's go back down to student reporter on the sideline, Davey Neal. Davey?
Thanks a lot, Jerry. I'm here with Tom Bailey, class of 2000, president of the Wabash College Sphinx Club. Tom, tell me about some of the events that have gone on campus to get the students excited about Bell Week.
Well, really, Bell Week started last Thursday. We led off with the Alma Mater Sing, which is the entire pledge classes of Wabash College take part in Alma Mater Sing inside the chapel. It's a great tradition. A week later, Thursday, 2 days ago, we had the Monon Chapel, which we had 3 varsity speakers. We had Coach Carlson, Coach Johnson, and a plaque dedicated to the Sphinx Club. And then, of course, we have our usual Saturday morning get-togethers and bus ride up to Greencastle.
Let's go back to the big 4th and 1. Jerry?
All right, it is 4th and 1. Actually, it isn't 1. It's probably a foot or less, huh?
Well, they measured it during the timeout. The officials weren't going to measure it, and then Greg Carlson convinced them to do so, but it was
he has
still
the right to do, by the way. You can ask him to do that, so he gets a feel for where it is.
Still about a foot short.
Wabash is 1 for 3 on 4th down conversions this afternoon. Quarterback keep. They've got, they lost the football. DePauw's got it.
Frisky Williams got it.
Jake Knott went into the line and appeared, Ryan, to get stood up a little bit and just lost the football.
He got stood up and tried to extend the ball over to get the first down, and Frisky just grabbed it from him and took it and ran.
So that may be your football game right there, barring some miraculous change. Here it is again, and you can see the ball just kind of pop away, and Frisky Williams, number 77, comes out of there with it. And Wabash 0 for 4 in the red zone with 2 interceptions and 1 fumble, and then once on downs.
Jake let the ball get away from his body. He tried to stretch that out right away. Not a smart play, and for all the big numbers, Jake, 3 mistakes inside the red zone, and that'll be the ball game.
Now, DePauw will keep it on the ground. You're not going to see much air into this football for the rest of this football game anyway. They'll swing it over the right side. We're down inside. We're right at 3 minutes right now. At a 21-7 lead for DePauw over Wabash. All of the scoring in the first half of this afternoon's game.
Well, it is difficult for people on the Wabash side to admit this whenever they've lost to Monon Bell, but the bottom line in this game is DePauw has made the plays. It's as simple as that. Each team's had plenty of opportunities. Wabash did not seize them. DePauw did, and Ryan, they deserve the credit for coming out and making big plays.
It's very interesting to hear Coach Carlson's comments coming into the second half. He said, I can tell them all I want, but it comes down to making plays in the end, and that's going to be the tale of this game.
You can see Kurt Hare up to the line of scrimmage, kind of looking the defensive alignments over, and he'll hand the ball up the middle again. Ryan Tohill. He'll just kind of bang it up there, and the yardage is significant, but the clock is more so. Pick up of 2, and I think Wabash is going to use its final timeout. They will. So we'll set the scene for you now. The clock shows 2 minutes and 12 seconds to play. It is 21 DePauw, 7 Wabash. The battle for the bell. And that bell's been banging away all afternoon long down here.
Again, the Tiger seniors going for their 4th bell in their career, retiring it, as we like to talk about, as Chris Ings and the likes of his class did. We've talked about how this series has gone in streaks, especially of late, but really also all throughout the series, especially when the Monon Bell entered the rivalry. It's been one school dominating for a series of years.
Series began for the Monon Bell in 1890. Actually, the series began in 1890. DePauw won that first game 34-5. They won the first 4 games. This is indeed the 12th most active rivalry in all of college football. And the Bell actually entered the series in 1932. It's a 300-pound bell, a gift of the Monon Railroad, taken from one of its locomotives. Over the last 10 years, to give you an indicator how even the series has been, 5 wins for DePauw, 4 for Wabash, and 1 tie. DePauw will keep the ball on the ground again. You would assume anyway. 3rd and 7. No, they're not. I guess they figure they need 1 more first down and they get the pass complete. Kurt Hare out to Joe Shane. And that's the 4-yard gainer. That'll get him out to 3rd down now and about 3 or 4 yards to go.
This game, should the score hold up and DePauw go on to win, will buck a couple of statistical trends. In the 90s, the team with the better record a record of 7 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie in the game. As Jerry just mentioned, this series tied all time. When the series has been tied, Wabash has won 9 to go ahead by 1. DePauw has only won 5. So this game does buck a couple of those statistical trends we've been talking about here in the fourth quarter.
You've got way too much free time. Way too much free time. Here is the kick, and it's a bad one. He hits it about the 37-yard line and will bounce out to the 45, and it'll be blown dead there with 1:20 to go.
You know, you look back to one of the storylines for the game of battling the bell for the millennium, and as we're getting ready to turn the corner here into the new century, this rivalry has nothing but strong things ahead of it, as you can see with all the freshmen dotting the field here for both sides. The rivalry is here to stay for a long, long time.
Well, a poor punt from DePauw. Wabash with good field position. 1:20 to go. It would take a miracle, but still a slight glimmer of hope for the Little Giants if they can get a quick score.
30-yard punt for Kurt Ware off the side of his foot. Wabash still in the game. The pass is completed over the middle and down to near the 20-yard line. And a strong hit that time.
Senior Josh Johnson coming across the middle.
25 yards on the pickup.
I believe it's number 4 for the Little Giants.
This is Corey Barnard.
This is very much like the play on which J.D. Flynn was shaken up on the last drive. Just took a hard hit to the shoulder and maybe the side of the helmet. It appears he's shaken up, but hopefully he is okay. I think maybe perhaps like Flynn, he had the wind knocked out of him. Jack Mansfield, the man in the red hat and the white beard, is the head trainer for this Wabash athletic department. Jerry, you touched on the academic performance of these two teams, and what a lot of people may not realize is how seriously the athletic programs here take academics. If you're the starting quarterback for Wabash and DePauw, you have a biology lab that lasts until practice has been going for half an hour. You don't leave the lab early. You're the starting quarterback. You just come to practice late. And that really is something that makes this game so special, is that these kids are here for school first, academics first, but still find the time to be outstanding football players.
You know, when you mentioned the article yesterday in the paper, you have to wonder what kind of angle that's going for. To me, this is all that's good in college athletics. This is supporting everything that's good in college athletics today. When we hear so many problems, these guys are doing it right.
Josh Johnson tackled Corey Barnard. Their helmets collided. A shot to the side of Barnard's head, and I imagine he's hearing bells as he comes to the sideline, and not just the one out on the track.
Well, Jake Knott is over 439 yards passing now. 28 of 44, 439 yards.
Well, we talked about the maturation of Jake Knott over the course of the season and throughout this game, and I think he has learned a very valuable lesson today, and that is you can have all the numbers in the world. When you get the ball down in that red zone, you've got to make plays, and that is the downside to his game today. 3 turnovers inside the red zone today, only 7 points on the board, despite an enormous number of offensive yards for this team.
There are the numbers on Jake out of Lafayette Jefferson High School up in Lafayette, Indiana. He'll hang in there with the clock down at exactly 1 minute to go. And Knott will be knocked down at about the 20-yard line.
Something else to note for Tiger fans out there, although Kurt Hare is listed as a senior, he does have a year left of eligibility. It's still not clear whether or not he'll be back or not. But just something to know that the Tiger signal caller could be back at the helm next season.
Hurry up offense. Knott looking, throwing to the end zone, trying to go to Casper, and it is intercepted. And that would be the final nail in the coffin, I would think. It's Patrick Winery out of Naples, Florida, who comes up with the interception, his 5th interception of the season.
And what a great interception for Patrick Winery. He's the guy who was banged up on the big play trying to stop the huge freight train.
And we thought he was out.
Of short, right. He was out for much of the rest of the first half. But he comes back here and makes a big play to seal the victory and to give all of his senior classmates 4 bells.
There is a penalty marker down in the end zone, but it would appear to be either against Wabash or a post-possession foul.
It could be a celebratory type thing also. We'll see what they're going to call here.
Well, I think Winery and Joe Rogowski thought they were in Lambeau Field because they did a couple of Packer leaps there as they hopped the gate and went over to celebrate with some fans, and they're always going to get called for something like that.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's what it is.
Jerry, you've had an opportunity to cover all the great events in Indiana sports. I know this is your first Monon Bell game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, and how's this compare to similar events?
You know, my first thought is this is much better contested and much better reacted to with the fans than I've been led to believe. I've seen nothing at all of any disarray today. I've seen both teams play this year. I love the style of football, and how you could possibly condemn this class of football, as you guys suggested with an article, is totally beyond me. I love the enthusiasm of the fans today. I think we tried to capture that with our field reporters today. And the weather ain't bad either, Joe.
No, it's not.
That ought to do it. It's
November?
In mid-November, 13th of November, and we've got 70 degrees and working short-sleeve shirts, and that's going to pretty much do it. You can see the fans, the anxiety. Oops, there goes one of the fences. Here come the DePauw Tigers out on the field. Clock is winding down, still 15 seconds to go, but there's not much they can do with this situation right here. DePauw will win it for the 4th consecutive year. And Ryan, just your thoughts, representing DePauw, your thoughts on picking up the victory today.
It's been a very interesting experience for me, as I was a student, graduated in 1997, and the Tigers finally won the Bell in my senior year, and they won 4 straight. But it was a long time coming in my first 3 years to watch some struggling Tiger football teams. I can feel for the Little Giants. They played a great game. We see that there's nothing but bright things to come from their team. And just hats off to the seniors here. This game is all about the seniors, as we've said time and time again today. And I can't be happier for those guys down on the field.
And Joe, the other perspective?
Well, anytime Wabash loses a Monon Bell game, my first feeling goes to the seniors who leave here having lost their final game. This is a senior class that did not garner the spotlight because of the great freshmen, but were leaders on this team. They are the ones who enabled the freshmen to have the opportunities to step up. So my feeling, first and foremost, is for these seniors in this case who leave having never tasted victory in this game. On the positive side, I'm thrilled to death about next season and the next 2 years with the likes of Jake Knott and Nathan Boulay.
See what, Ryan? He's already talking about next November for crying out loud. We've had a mingling of the players on the field, a lot of congratulatory handshakes amongst each other out there, a lot of great sportsmanship. There's the bell, there's the victorious DePauw Tigers. At the other end of the field, the Wabash Little Giants gathering in a huddle to talk amongst themselves. I have seen nothing of any negative nature today, and I must say, guys, I'm very proud of that.
Well, I think Ryan and I are too, and Ryan, I think you would agree, at least at Wabash, the credit goes to the administration, but maybe more importantly to the student leadership on the campus. They're the ones who get the word out among the fraternities, the social clubs, the athletic teams, and the credit rests with the students.
It's just the same relationship between the coaches and the players making plays. You have to credit both student bodies. The administration have made some changes and suggested some things that we can do differently. One, you didn't see at the coin toss, the two sides coming together and rumbling, so to speak, and getting broke up. But just a great day for football, and the Monon Bell heading into the next century. The rivalry is in good hands.
Well, there are so many people we need to thank today. We won't go down the entire list. Lindsey Clutter and Davey Neal on the field. You guys, Joe Emmick and Ryan Burke, you guys are sensational, man. I take you with me. George, we forgot George. George Seacrest is down there also. And we got to get out of here. It's been a terrific game. Our congratulations to the DePauw Tigers as they pick up the victory and take the lead in the overall series. Your final score this afternoon on a beautiful day here in Greencastle, Indiana. DePauw 21 and Wabash 7. Jerry Baker for the rest of our crew saying goodbye.